Chapter 1126. The Purple Heavenly Palace left, but the Demonic Academy's ranking wasn't confirmed yet. Mabe announced the results of the disciple competition. The final score was 300 points. Currently, the Demonic Academy's total score is 631 points. Mabe said, "Next is the bonus points. The disciple competition is worth 20 points. The Heavenly Music Pavilion's hunting competition is worth 50 points. The Prodigy competition is worth 150 points. The Demonic Academy's final score is 851 points, ranked 16th in the Xinyuan Continent's Academy ranking. The major academies below the stage were in an uproar. 850 points in the first ranking test, ranked 16th. This is a newly established academy. Our academy's first score was only 200 points. The Demonic Academy's potential is too terrifying. With a little more time, it will become the first immortal academy in Xinyuan Continent. Now, let's see how the battle between the Purple Heavenly Palace and the gods and demons will turn out in 7 days." Mabe continued, "Everyone, calm down. Venerable Shenliang has announced that due to the Nameless Principal's special contribution, the Demonic Academy has obtained the qualifications to become the Sacred Academy." This caused an uproar below the stage. "It can't be, right? Directly entering the Sacred Academy? Are you kidding me? Not to mention Xinyuan Continent, even the 6th heavenly layer doesn't have such a precedent. A Prodigy competition's champion can directly enter the Sacred Academy?" A Celestial Fortress disciple looked back at the person who spoke. It seemed like he came from another continent. "Prodigy competition's champion? Friend, you underestimate the Nameless Principal too much. This kind of battle record is not worth mentioning at all for the Nameless Senior. With his contribution, not to mention the Sacred Academy, if the Immortal Academy didn't need to go through the star map formation, it would be reasonable for the gods and demons to become the Immortal Academy. Killing the King of Hell and saving the entire 6th heavenly layer, even the principal of the Immortal Academy didn't have this ability. It was just that Lu Chen didn't want to make it public, so Zhongxian Gu didn't explain the specific reason. The Demonic Academy's ranking test finally ended, and the lower Demonic Academy became the Demonic Sacred Academy. After the ranking competition ended, the disciples led the guests down the mountain. However, many people stayed behind to congratulate Lu Chen. Li Wei walked in front of Lu Chen and smiled at Lu Chen. "Nameless, congratulations. You are now part of the Sacred Court." Lu Chen temporarily put aside the matter of Jiu. He was still very grateful towards Li Wei. She was the only woman Lu Chen had ever told him her true name. Their relationship was naturally not ordinary. "Li Wei, I have to thank you for being able to reach this point." Li Wei smiled, but then she thought of something and her expression turned serious. "Lu Chen, are you sure you want to go to the Immortal Corpse Mound? I mean, the Purple Knight Emperor clearly came prepared. In the past, they wouldn't directly clash with Zhongxian Gu, but this time, I see that he's full of confidence. It seems like he has some kind of trump card in his hand." Lu Chen frowned. "He does have a trump card." Lu Chen didn't want to say too much. "In 7 days, I will accept the challenge. At that time, no matter what tricks he plays, I will take them on. Lu Chen, I will go with you when the time comes. I should have told you before that our Feng Lai isn't afraid of the Purple Sky Palace. If something really happens, I might be able to help." Lu Chen nodded. There was no need to be polite between him and Li Wei. "All right." Lu Chen suddenly remembered something. He took out a purple crystal from his backpack and handed it to Li Wei. "Look at my memory. When Yao He and I went to the land of extreme frost together, we obtained this illusion god crystal. I promised to give it to you, but something happened to the little critter and I forgot about it for a moment." Li Wei smiled slightly. "Silly, of course I know. At that time, you didn't have time to think about anything else. At that time, it was just the two of them riding the sky shuttle." Lu Chen didn't move when Li Wei threw herself at him. In Li Wei's opinion, it should be because Lu Chen had too many things on his mind. Lu Chen didn't understand Li Wei's hidden meaning. He put the crystal in Li Wei's hand. "Li Wei, I will go entertain the others first. There are a lot of people, so don't blame me for being negligent." "Go, go," Li Wei said with a smile. The people from Celestial Fortress also came. When He Xing saw that Lu Chen was free, he quickly walked over. Nameless brother, congratulations. You just entered the ranking and you already won the Saint Academy. No wonder you are Nameless Brother's Academy. You are too strong. You flatter me, brother He Xing, Lu Chen smiled. Nameless brother, your academy students are each more powerful than the other. It's just that your place seems a little empty. He Xing looked around. Lu Chen explained, the academy has just started. It can't be compared to your World Edge Pavilion. He Xing laughed. Haha, Nameless brother, haven't you always wanted a set of strength testing stones? Coincidentally, a few new strength testing stones have appeared in the Qingze continent's new mineral veins. The quality is better than our World Edge Pavilions. I have already asked the refiners to make them into strength testing stones. You can send them over in a few days. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Really? Why would I lie to you? How embarrassing. Lu Chen actually felt a little apologetic. Hey, why are you saying this to me? Let's not talk about killing the King of Hell. If it weren't for you, the 800 people from the World Edge Pavilion would have died in the underworld. We have wanted to express our gratitude for a long time, but we were busy dealing with the underworld invasion. Later, the Qingze continent had to recover its vitality, so we delayed it. Nameless brother, don't reject it. If you do, it means that you don't treat the World Edge Pavilion as a friend. Lu Chen had wanted a strength testing stone for a long time, but he didn't care for ordinary strength testing stones. Those poor ones could be destroyed by the students in minutes. At least the World Edge Pavilion's strength testing stones were of good quality. Now that the World Edge Pavilion had taken the initiative to give him a set, he was naturally happy. Then I'll accept it. Thank you, brother He Xing. After talking about the strength testing stone, He Xing's face darkened. He whispered to Lu Chen, I heard that the Purple Heavenly Palace has been very close to the Heavenly Music Pavilion recently. You have to be careful in the Battle of the Immortal Corpse Mound. I suspect that the Purple Knight Emperor is up to something big this time. Lu Chen frowned and said, the Heavenly Music Pavilion is also involved. He Xing said, I've already informed the Lord of this matter. The Lord has ordered us to take this opportunity of escorting the testing stone to secretly transfer people over. If anything happens to the Violet Heavenly Palace, we can deal with it together with the Pavilion of Immortals. I'll go with you to the Battle of 7 Days. Nameless brother, please arrange a place for me to stay for the next few days. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It seemed that the Purple Knight Emperor was very ambitious. However, it seemed that the Purple Knight Emperor had neglected Lu Chen's friends. Lu Chen was the kind of person who showed no mercy to his enemies. However, as long as they were not his enemies, Lu Chen would never put on airs. No matter what their identity was, as long as they were well-behaved, he would be happy to make friends with them. This was because they were all like-minded people. He treated his friends with sincerity, and his friends treated him the same way. If the Celestial Fortress and the Zhongxingu joined forces, they would not be afraid of the Heavenly Music Pavilion and the Purple Heavenly Palace. Lu Chen nodded and secretly decided on this matter. Brother He Xing, feel free to stay. Nameless brother, it's rare for you to come here. Of course, I have to be a good host. That day, the Black Armor King discovered a problem. The inns at the foot of the Intentionless Mountain were all full. Even the inns in the surrounding business districts were overcrowded. He immediately sent people to investigate the situation of the colleges near the Immortal Corpse Mound. The guest rooms over there were fully booked in an instant. It seems that they are all waiting for the appointment of the Dean and the Purple Heavenly Palace in 7 days. Chapter 1127. Purple Sky Palace, Star Sky Illusion Cultivation Room. From the outside, it looked similar to an ordinary cultivation room. However, upon entering, one would discover that the entire cultivation room was like a galaxy. Purple Knight Tianzi stood beside Jiao. Jiao? Your level has increased too quickly recently. You've even crossed the human monarch realm. Both your body and spiritual power have been greatly strengthened. You should be able to feel it. Starting from the 5-star Theo the Great, physical strengthening doesn't just rely on spiritual power to level up. Purple Knight Tianzi said, because when you increase your star level, the spirit core will transform your body. If your physical body isn't strong enough, you won't be able to withstand this transformation. One of the reasons why there aren't many top experts in the human race is that their physical body's upper limit is too low. The higher their level, the more difficult it is for them to improve. There are only a handful of humans who can reach the human monarch realm. However, whether it's the human race or other races, after the physical strengthening, you'll need to adapt to the strength of your new body. The most direct way to adapt to the strength of your new body is to fight. Purple Knight Tianzi looked at Jiao. This woman's original body was human. He didn't know why Dark Erosion chose to occupy this woman's body. Of course, from the looks of it, Dark Erosion Jiao's leveling speed was very fast. She could also control her body very well. It seemed that Dark Erosion had a way to solve this problem. In short, Nameless proposed to fight in 7 days. It's actually more advantageous for us. I've already used Star Sky Illusion. 7 days here is 7 months. You have to improve your strength as much as possible here. Dark Erosion Jiao's eyes were cold. Even if I don't cultivate, I can still kill Nameless. Didn't you already simulate his illusion before? Purple Knight Tianzi laughed. Yes, you defeated Nameless' illusion. However, that only means that you have a high chance of winning. It doesn't mean that you'll definitely win. Besides, wouldn't it be better if you could become stronger? Your goal shouldn't be to kill Nameless. Jiao didn't object to this point. After all, Nameless was just a stepping stone on her path to becoming stronger. After obtaining Jiao's support, Purple Knight Tianzi's goal wasn't just to kill Yi Fan. In addition to allowing you to quickly adapt to your new level in these 7 days, this Star Sky Fantasy realm can also simulate powerful opponents. This will allow you to become stronger faster in actual combat. For thousands of years, the Violet Heavenly Palace has collected information on 9 cultivators of different levels. If you want to challenge them, you can directly let the Starry Sky illusions simulate your opponent. Jiao narrowed her eyes. How does this Star Sky Fantasy compare to the Nameless Fantasy? Purple Knight Emperor smiled. In the Astral Sky Fantasy, most of the illusions are stronger than Nameless. Every illusion was once the strongest of the 6th heavenly layer. These people all became true immortals later on. It's just that we chose their abilities from different periods to compare, so there's a difference in their strength. With Nameless' current strength in the Astral Sky Mirage, she's probably ranked in the bottom 2 or 3. Zhi's lips curled up slightly. In other words, there are 6 or 7 people stronger than Nameless. Interesting. All right, I'll leave you the recovery pills and the extraction scroll. You can cultivate here in peace. With that, Purple Knight Emperor left the Star Sky Fantasy realm. As soon as Purple Knight Emperor left, Jiao summoned the Nameless Fantasy. In front of Jiao stood that man. Jiao looked at Lu Chen's appearance and paused slightly. She didn't know why, but she felt that this man was very familiar, as if she had known him for a long time. During the first test, she had this feeling. And this time, after seeing Nameless with her own eyes, this feeling was even stronger. Suddenly, 2 drops of tears fell from the corner of Zhi's eyes. She wiped away her tears in shock, her eyes filled with disbelief. Jiao still had a remnant consciousness? Damn it, it's really that woman's memory. But why can't I find any memories of Nameless? Jiao hugged her head in pain. If she couldn't find that memory, she couldn't delete it. But quickly calmed down, her eyes filled with anger. Jiao of Wood Manor, stop struggling. I don't care who he is. I will kill him no matter what. The second time she killed Lu Chen's fantasy was smoother than the first time. After fully activating her state, Jiao defeated Lu Chen's fantasy once again. When Lu Chen's fantasy dissipated, Jiao's subconscious about that person seemed to have become even more blurred. Jiao sneered, it seems that he is someone you care about. Every time you kill him, you must feel more despair. Very well, then I will keep killing him, and let you disappear completely in despair. In Star Sky Fantasy Boundary, a day was a month. Jiao had been repeatedly killing Lu Chen's fantasy. She wanted Jiao to see Nameless die in her hands again and again. Finally, that infuriating concern became fainter and fainter. Jiao, this time you must have completely given up, right? When you chose to cultivate me, you should have known that one day, I will take everything from you. At this time, a voice rang out in Star Sky Fantasy Boundary. It's actually Dark Corrosion Chaos. I have already collected 6 Dark Corrosion Chaos sets. Who? Jiao? Shouted angrily. That voice clearly did not belong to Purple Night Prince. Only Purple Night Prince could enter this place. That voice did not panic at all. You don't need to know who I am. You only need to know that I am here to help you. Help me? Jiao was surprised. What do you mean? That voice laughed. How ignorant. You think you can kill Nameless just because you defeated a few Nameless fantasy? Nameless is stronger than you think. He has 6 pieces of the Life Reverser set while you have 6 pieces of the Dark Corrosion Chaos set. But you must realize that even though the Dark Corrosion Chaos set is on par with the Life Reverser set, that's because the Life Reverser set isn't able to be completed. In fact, you are far inferior to Life Reversal set. That person's words seemed to have touched Jiao's reverse scale. She shouted angrily, "Shut up! Fiend gods who go against fate are nothing more than tools for others. But I, by rebelling against my master, can become a true expert. How can it compare to me?" That voice said calmly, "But how can a master who can control life reversal set be an ordinary person? Just getting one life reversal set is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. You turning against your master is equivalent to you lacking a master, the key combat power of life reversal set." Became even more agitated. "Who are you? Is it an illusion here? Which one is it? I will kill you." "Sorry, there are no illusions of me here. I existed before Purple Sky Palace." That voice said, "You don't need to be angry. I said I am here to help you. Although you are not Nameless' opponent now, if you collect all 9 Dark Corrosion set, it will be completely different." "What? Collect all 9? Jiao was completely shocked. As she spoke, 3 Dark Corrosion Chaos sets appeared in front of her. "This is my gift to you," that voice said, "and what you need to do is to kill Nameless." Chapter 1128. After sending off the guests, Lu Chen finally had a chance to rest. Although the Demonic Academy had become the Sacred Academy, Lu Chen was not happy. The Jiao he saw today was completely different from before. Apart from her appearance, there was no trace of Jiao in her. He did not know if Jiao's consciousness had been completely taken over by the dark erosion. He took out the 2 crystal teardrops from his backpack. "I will definitely save you." Someone knocked on the door. Lu Chen hurriedly wiped away the teardrops. "Please come in." It was Taihao, Tianxin, Li Wei, Xing, and Mabe. Lu Chen felt strange when he saw these people. He knew that Li Wei and the others were at the Demonic Academy, but when did Taihao and Tianxin come? "Senior Taihao, Tianxin, why are you here?" Taihao smiled. "Nameless Xing asked me to come." Lu Chen frowned. Tianxin had been here before? He had not noticed. "We came to find you for something and happened to meet your friends." Taihao looked at Li Wei and the others. Taihao's gaze lingered on Li Wei for half a second. This woman from the Heavenly Fox clan seemed to be his daughter's love rival, one of them. Lu Chen hurriedly invited everyone into the house. "Why are you looking for me?" Li Wei looked at Lu Chen and asked, "Nameless, you and the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace?" Before Lu Chen could speak, Taihao smiled and said, "Miss Li Wei, don't worry. We are friends with Nameless. I came here this time because I received a piece of news. I guess you came to find him because of this." Lu Chen asked curiously, "What is it?" "The weather at the Purple Sky Palace has changed. If I'm not wrong, they have activated the Star Sky Illusion Array." Li Wei and the others were relieved. It seemed that Taihao was not an outsider. They came to inform Lu Chen of this matter. Star Sky Illusion Array? Lu Chen looked confused. Yes, the Star Magic Matrix is the top training room of the Purple Sky Palace. It needs to absorb spiritual chi for hundreds of years to complete one charge. 1 day of training inside is equivalent to a month outside. Lu Chen immediately frowned. He already knew what was going to happen next. Jiu must be cultivating inside. He had not expected the Purple Heavenly Palace to have such a trick up their sleeves. He had delayed it for 7 days. It was not a long time, but the Purple Heavenly Palace had used their trump card. My 7-day agreement was set too hastily, Lu Chen said with a frown. He Xing comforted him. We did not expect the Purple Sky Palace to use the Star Sky Illusion Array. But you don't have to worry. Although the Purple Night Emperor is very strong, he is definitely not as strong as the King of Hell. He won't improve much in 7 years. Lu Chen shook his head. If the Purple Night Emperor was cultivating in the Star Sky Illusion Array, he would not have to worry at all. He was almost certain that the Purple Sky Palace had created the Star Sky Illusion Array at this time for Jiu to use. It was hard to predict how much Jiu could improve in 7 months. Tai Hao also knew about Jiu, but he did not expose He Xing. He continued, besides this, there is one more thing. Everyone looked at Tai Hao strangely. They only knew about the Star Sky Illusion Array. Tai Hao said, there is a mighty figure in the 6th heaven who came down. What? A mighty figure came down to the 6th heaven? Is something big going to happen? Lu Chen was a little confused. Isn't it normal to come down? Tai Hao shook his head. Those above the 6th heaven are all immortals. These immortals will not come down so easily. Even when the King of Hell invaded, they did not come down. It is obvious. What is certain is that if something big happens, immortals may not come down. But if immortals come down, it is certain that something big will happen. And this time, the one who came down from the vibration of the 6th heaven's spiritual power, it might be a true immortal. This time, even Lu Chen was shocked. A true immortal? He had never seen a true immortal before. Tai Hao continued, at present, the 6th heaven has just experienced the underworld invasion and is recovering its vitality. It can be said that the 6th heaven is rarely so peaceful. But a true immortal came down at this time. I am afraid this has something to do with the Purple Sky Palace. While they were discussing, they suddenly felt the ground shake. The teacups on the tea table almost fell off the table. Everyone looked at each other and rushed out of the house. They came out of the house and found that almost all the disciples were standing outside, looking for the source of the vibration. What's going on? I don't know. I thought someone made a move on intentionless. The vibration is not very big, but it has been shaking. It doesn't seem to be caused by the aftermath of a strong move. Soon, someone shouted, "Look at the sky." Everyone looked up. At this time, it was evening. In the sky, on a certain star, a dark purple light shot out from the star. Damn, what is that? Is it the aftermath of the other continents that caused the vibration here? This is too exaggerated. Star vision. It should be a star vision. Which continent is that? There is a stardust vision. What happened over there? Everyone was dumbfounded by the scene in front of them. A heaven and earth vision only existed in one area, but a star vision could be seen even on other continents. It was not on the same level at all. Tai Hao frowned. Does it have something to do with a true immortal coming down? Ma Bei quickly took out the astrolabe and located the continent. That is, the Purple Mountain continent where the Purple Sky Palace is located. The Purple Sky Palace. Everyone's hearts tightened. Lu Chen's expression was serious. Was it Jiu? The vibration finally disappeared after a few minutes. The light shot out from the star also disappeared. Lu Chen and the others returned to the house. Everyone was silent. Obviously, this was not a good thing for Nameless. It could even have an unimaginable impact on level 6. Tai Hao, Ma Bei, and He Xing had already sent people to investigate this matter. However, there would not be any news for a while. If a star vision appeared in the Purple Sky Palace, then Tai Hao's pupils contracted. Nameless, you might be in danger during the 7-day agreement. Dad, Tian Xener said anxiously, think of a way to help Nameless. They all looked at Tian Xener in surprise. Tian Xen, or also realized that she was being too obvious. She hurriedly said, "Well, Purple Knight Emperor has always been ambitious. Even if it's not for Nameless, for level 6, we can't just sit back and do nothing." Taihao sighed. This girl knew that Nameless was thinking about Jiu in the Wood Mansion, but she still cared so much about Lu Chen. It seemed that she was deeply in love with him. "I didn't say I didn't care. Nameless, the Purple Sky Palace has the Astral Illusion Formation, but the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace also has the Immortal Emperor's Mountain Realm. If you want to go, I can open the Mountain Realm for you." Mountain Realm? The legendary Royal Heaven Immortal Palace's most powerful cultivation Holy Land? Mabe and Yixing's eyes widened. However, Lu Chen did not immediately agree. A star vision appeared in the Purple Sky Palace. They might have obtained some treasure. "If I only rely on cultivation, I might not have a chance of winning," Lu Chen said. At this point, everyone fell silent. Without the opportunity to cultivate, the increase in strength would be limited. Then what should we do? Li Wei was worried and asked anxiously. Lu Chen took a deep breath. "Maybe I still have a chance. Give me 3 days. 3 days later, Taihao, I will come to the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace." Chapter 1129. 3 days? Nameless, what do you want to do? Mabe asked curiously. "I want to go to the Demonic Academy's main spirit vein," Lu Chen said. He only had 3 days to prepare. It was obviously too late to use these 3 days to find the star core. The fastest way was the main spirit vein. Although he didn't know what was in the main spirit vein, since the people in the mountains had asked him to come, it couldn't have been for no reason. Now, every minute that passed in the outside world made Jiu stronger. Lu Chen had to take a gamble. "Mabe, please lift the seal set by Zhongxingu. I want to enter the main spirit vein." Everyone looked at Lu Chen in shock. Mabe said anxiously, "Nameless, the thing in your main spirit vein is very strange. Back then, the Celestial Venerable came to check it himself, but he didn't have a clue. That's why we had to seal it." Lu Chen shook his head. "I can't care about that now. I have to go in and take a look." If Lu Chen insisted, Mabe had nothing to say. After all, Lu Chen was now the director of the Demonic Academy. He had the right to ask Zhongxingu to lift the seal. "All right, but I think it's best not to lift the seal completely. I can let you in. That way, even if something unexpected happens, it'll be under control." Lu Chen nodded. "If that's possible, then that's naturally the best." "Thank you." Mabe sighed. In short, he couldn't change Lu Chen's decision. "Right, you must remember not to stay in there for too long. The thing in there is too mysterious. Many people who participated in sealing the main spirit vein suffered heavy losses, including Celestial Venerable Shen Liang." Lu Chen frowned. "Were they killed?" Mabe smiled helplessly. "Not only were they killed, but so many people went in to check it out. They didn't even know when they were killed, and their bodies weren't even found. Not only that, but our people went in for less than an hour. Many people's levels regressed, and they forgot their skills and lost their equipment." "What? There's such a thing?" everyone exclaimed together. Even Taihao felt that it was a little unbelievable. Mabe said helplessly, "It's because it's so strange that we didn't dare to continue to look for the main spirit vein. We could only set up a formation to seal this place. Unfortunately, in the past 400 years, the holy courtyard of Wunyan has still suffered greatly, and there is nothing we can do about it." It was obviously the first time Lu Chen had heard of such a strange thing, but there was no time to hesitate. He had to go in and take a look. "Mabe, let's go." The main spirit vein was located at the back of Intentionless Mountain. Lu Chen frowned as he stood at the entrance of the back of the mountain. "Mountain Man, is this what you want me to find?" Mabe said to Lu Chen. "Nameless, as soon as I open the seal, you go in immediately. I've already given you the voice transmission talisman. If you want to come out, let me know and I'll open the formation immediately." Lu Chen nodded. This time, Lu Chen didn't bring the little beast. After all, the danger here was secondary. The key was that it was too mysterious. "Nameless, be careful. We'll wait for you outside the formation." Li Wei's eyes were full of worry. Lu Chen nodded. I'll be careful. Mabe was ready. The moment he opened the formation, Lu Chen rushed into the entrance. As soon as he entered the entrance, the formation behind him closed again. From here, he could see that Mabe and the others were looking at him. Lu Chen smiled at them and then entered the narrow path without looking back. Following the path, Lu Chen soon arrived at a cave. In front of the cave, there was a stone tablet with the words, Spirit Vein Restricted Area, Do Not Enter, written on it. Lu Chen directly entered the cave. After passing through the cave and coming out from the other side, Lu Chen found that there was an open valley in front of him. In the center of the valley was a huge lake. On the shore stood a stone tablet with the words, Autumn Thought Lake, written on it. The valley, the lake, and the fact that no one had come here for a long time. Logically speaking, it should be a scene of lush greenery. However, this valley could only be described as dead silence at this time. The soil on the ground was dry, and there were withered branches and withered leaves everywhere. The lake was as quiet as a mirror, without a trace of wind. Lu Chen looked over and could not see a trace of life here. It was hard to imagine that this used to be the main spirit vein of Wunyan Academy, known as one of the 3 great spirit veins of Xingyuan continent. Mabe had reminded Lu Chen that he could not stay here for long. However, Lu Chen was completely confused now. Naturally, it was impossible for him to leave now. He could only raise his vigilance and be on guard at all times. There's not even a spirit gathering array? Lu Chen was a little surprised. One had to know that natural spirit veins were fixed spirit veins. Generally, a spirit gathering array would be set up to gather spirit energy. After choosing the site, it was impossible for the Wunyan Academy not to set up a spirit gathering array. Could it be that it's too old? Lu Chen shook his head. Speaking of which, where is the spirit source of this spirit vein? It can't be in the lake, right? Lu Chen opened his heaven's eye to check. No way, the spirit energy here is too thin. Not long after, Lu Chen noticed a farmhouse by the lake. He hurried over to check it out. The farmhouse seemed to have been abandoned for many years. The walls were broken, and the exposed bricks had turned into sand. It was a miracle that the house had not collapsed yet. Lu Chen carefully walked into the farmhouse. He saw that there was common furniture in the farmhouse, but it was covered in dust. Other than that, there was nothing special about it. What's going on with this farmhouse? Looking at the complete set of bowls and chopsticks, it seems that someone used to live here. Lu Chen could not think of the original reason for the time being. He could only walk out of the farmhouse first. Looking at the desolate valley again, Lu Chen's gaze finally fell on the lake. There's no spirit gathering array, no spirit source, nothing. If there's really something here, it should be in the autumn yearning lake. Just as Lu Chen was about to walk towards the autumn yearning lake, a figure suddenly flashed in front of him. After all, Lu Chen was always on guard against the enemy's sneak attack. He quickly activated the divine demon symbiosis. However, just as Lu Chen activated the state, the black figure had already disappeared. Is it that thing in the main spirit vein? Lu Chen frowned. But it didn't attack me. That should have been a good opportunity. Just as Lu Chen was surprised, he suddenly saw a system notification. Body's spiritual energy decreased by 10,000 points. Lu Chen's eyes widened. His spiritual energy had decreased? What's going on? Unexpectedly, just as Lu Chen was in a daze, there was a sudden movement of spirit energy behind him. When Lu Chen sensed it and turned around, he found nothing. Body's strength decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's eyes widened. His strength decreased by 30,000 points again? Wait a minute, Jo was crazily increasing her strength in the Star Sky fantasy realm, and he was crazily losing attributes in the main spirit vein? How was he going to play this? Chapter 1130. Damn it, what the hell is that? Lu Chen looked around nervously. Until now, he had not even seen what the other party looked like. He could suddenly imagine the panic of those people when the Pavilion of Immortals first came here. They did not even have a chance to fight and their attributes kept dropping. Who could stand that? Moreover, the Pavilion of Immortals had originally come with a large group of people. Perhaps their feelings were not as deep as Lu Chen's. Now that that fellow was staring at Lu Chen and stealing from him alone, Lu Chen's situation was even more dangerous. No, my attributes can't be lost for no reason. Lu Chen hurriedly adjusted his mentality. Divine Demon Heaven's Might. Dragon God Form. Lu Chen directly used the monster army's attributes and added all 5 million attribute points to agility. At the same time, he activated the Dragon God form to greatly increase his combat strength so that he could detect the other party's movements. As long as he had time to react, he might be able to catch up to that guy if he activated the Divine Demon Astral form. However, after waiting for a long time, that guy did not appear again. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Perhaps that guy knew that it would be dangerous to come out now and did not want to confront him directly. Is he waiting for my heaven's might to end? That's too cunning. Lu Chen hurriedly changed his tactics. If you don't come to me, I'll continue to investigate. Lu Chen used the water avoidance pearl and walked towards Autumn Yearning Lake. When he stepped on the lake, the entire lake suddenly began to shake. Immediately after, a huge array pattern floated on the lake. Found it, the Spirit Gathering Array. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that the Spirit Gathering Array here was set up in the lake. This method was not something an ordinary array master could do. As the Spirit Gathering Array floated on the water, the shores around Autumn Yearning Lake rumbled. 9 huge statues rose from the 9 directions of Autumn Yearning Lake. These 9 statues had 9 different images: human, god, devil, Buddha, Taoist, demon, dragon, spirit, and monster. Each statue was 200 to 300 meters tall. They each held a different weapon in one hand and looked at the center of the lake at the same time. Not long after, ripples appeared in the center of Autumn Remembrance Lake, and ripples spread out from the center of the lake. Then, a crystal coffin rose from the lake. Inside the coffin lay a peerlessly beautiful woman. The woman's features were picturesque, her skin was tender and rosy, and her lips were as fresh and tender as cherries. She wore a pink and white gauze dress, and her hands were placed on her chest as she lay peacefully inside the crystal coffin. This? Lu Chen's eyes widened. Is this the spiritual source of the main spiritual vein of Wunyan Academy? Lu Chen spread his wings and arrived before the crystal coffin. Under close observation, there was nothing strange about the woman. It was as if she had fallen asleep. However, the words "Coffin of True Love" were written on the crystal coffin. Since it was a coffin, this woman should already be dead. It was just that she had used some special method to prevent her body from rotting. Lu Chen never dreamed that the spiritual source of the holy courtyard of Wunyan was actually a corpse. Just as Lu Chen was about to take a closer look at the female corpse, a sudden gust of cold wind blew behind him. Here it comes. Lu Chen was already prepared. 9 void steps. Lu Chen quickly distanced himself from it. However, the fellow did not chase after Lu Chen. Instead, it lay on the crystal coffin and looked affectionately at the woman in the crystal coffin. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He finally saw the fellow's appearance clearly. It was a hunchbacked black monster whose clothes did not cover its body. Lu Chen looked at the thing that was neither human nor ghost. What exactly are you? The fellow did not seem to hear Lu Chen's words. It only looked at the woman in the crystal coffin. Its eyes were extremely clear, and its hands caressed the surface of the crystal coffin as if it was caressing its lover. Lu Chen's mind raced. The holy courtyard of Wunyan was founded by the Patriarch of Wunyan. When it was founded, this place was chosen as the location of the holy courtyard of Wunyan. Other than the appearance of the monster, the main spiritual vein had always been very peaceful. In other words, from the beginning, the main spiritual vein had not changed. Then it was very likely that the Patriarch of Wunyan had used Qiurua's corpse as the spiritual source from the beginning. At this moment, seeing that the monster was so deeply in love with the woman, a terrifying thought appeared in Lu Chen's mind. You're Wunyan. At the mention of Wunyan, the fellow finally raised its head. Its eyes were full of resentment, and it said in a hoarse voice, "I am not that heartless fellow. I will never treat Qiurua as the spiritual source." Lu Chen frowned and said, "Then who exactly are you? Why are you here?" The man gently caressed the crystal coffin and looked at the beautiful woman in the coffin. He said softly, "Chiu Rua, I'm sorry to let someone disturb your peace. I'll kill that person now." Then he turned to look at Lu Chen. "Kid, you have some strength. You actually have the form of a dragon god. Are you from the dragon clan?" "No, I've never seen your dragon seed." "Who exactly are you?" Lu Chen sneered. "I was the one who asked you first, but you have more questions than me. I'm not a dragon. I just fused with the dragon crystal. As for my dragon seed, I'm sorry, we're not close enough for me to tell you this." The man thought for a moment. "Fused with the dragon crystal? No wonder, I could clearly feel that you're a human." "Kid, to be able to fuse with the dragon crystal at the level of 1-star Emperor Xiu, it seems that you're also a talent." "Fine, I'll tell you." The man said in a hoarse voice, "I'm the Sky Thief." "The Sky Thief? So you're saying that my attributes were stolen by you?" Lu Chen said, "Also, the spiritual energy of Wunyan's main spirit vein is thin. Was it you who caused the students' levels to regress?" The Sky Thief snorted coldly. "In this world, from spiritual energy to equipment, even your skills, there's nothing that I can't steal." Lu Chen was a little disappointed. If Wunyan's main spirit vein was because of this Sky Thief, then it meant that there was no opportunity here at all, nor was there a way for him to quickly increase his strength. In the battle 7 days later, he would have to face Dark Shurjiu. "It's actually you." Lu Chen sighed. "I don't care if you steal from the heavens, steal from the earth, or steal from people. In the end, you're just a thief. Just now, when you saw me enter the autumn lake, you didn't stop me. This means that you have some misgivings about me, so I can roughly guess your strength." "Fine, I have no intention of disturbing Senior Qiuming's peace, and I'm not in the mood to fight with you right now. I advise you to quickly leave this place. After all, this is the territory of my God Devil Academy." The Sky Thief stared at Lu Chen. This guy had such a disappointed expression, and didn't even have the intention to make a move. It was obvious that he was looking down on him. "Hey, kid, do you really think I'm afraid of you? I didn't make a move just now because there are too many things about you that make me feel strange. It doesn't matter if you're afraid or not. What's important is that you're not what I'm looking for." Lu Chen shook his head and said, "What you're looking for has nothing to do with me, but you actually dare to look down on me. Then I'll strip you naked and slowly torture you to death. I'll let you know what it means to steal the sky and change the sun." Lu Chen shook his head. "If I really want to run, I'm afraid you won't be able to catch up to me." The people in the mountains were indeed a trap. Could it be that they sent him to Thoughtless just to catch a thief? Lu Chen's motive for founding the God Devil Academy suddenly became meaningless. Coupled with Zhuge's matter, Lu Chen wasn't in the mood at all. "Run. You still want to run after coming in?" The Sky Thief coldly snorted. "Seeing that you don't have any fighting spirit, it's a bit boring to defeat someone like you. Then I'll tell you, I'll give you a reason not to run." Lu Chen looked at the Sky Thief in surprise, waiting for him to continue. Suddenly, a ball of light appeared in the Sky Thief's hand. Within the ball of light, black and white entered each half of the 8 trigrams, slowly flowing. The corner of the Sky Thief's mouth rose. "This God Devil Heavenly, I should make you have no choice but to stay and fight." Chapter 1131. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Who would have thought that there would be no monsters in Thoughtless Spirit Vein, only Sky Pilfer who was trapped by love. Yet, Sky Pilfer had a piece of the life-defying divine demon set. Every piece of the life-defying divine demon set was extremely difficult to obtain. Lu Chen had almost lost his life several times in order to obtain it. But if it was Sky Pilfer, with his special ability, he might really be able to obtain one. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. "What's your occupation?" "There shouldn't be any occupation in Jiutian that specializes in stealing." Sky Pilfer grinned. "But you're not confident and want to know more?" Lu Chen snorted. "I'm just curious." Sky Pilfer didn't expect Lu Chen to be so frank. He thought for a moment and said, "You told me that you fused with the dragon crystal, so I'll tell you one thing. My nature is that of a martial artist, but my physique is different from ordinary people, so my fighting style is also different from others. Lu Chen nodded. If I defeat you, the heaven's eyes will belong to me? Sure. But if you lose, your life will be mine. Deal. Lu Chen said without hesitation. Sky Pilfer smiled. Good, straightforward. Then I won't hold back. I, Sky Pilfer, will tell you in front of your face that I want to steal from you, and you can't stop me. Have a good taste of despair. After saying that, Sky Pilfer suddenly disappeared in front of Lu Chen. Lu Chen's eyes widened. This guy used astral form? Could it be that his astral form didn't need any skills to be used? At this moment, Lu Chen's mind was spinning. Sky Pilfer said that he was a martial artist and became so strange because of his special physique. But no matter what, he was still a martial artist. Is it because of his super speed combined with some special technique? Lu Chen guessed. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt something behind him. He didn't even turn around and directly jumped away with 9 void steps, but he was still 1 step too slow. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. As soon as Lu Chen stopped, a black shadow flashed in front of his eyes. However, the black shadow was still more than 10 meters away from Lu Chen. Before Lu Chen could react, a black shadow flashed past his eyes. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. So fast. That guy doesn't even need to get close to me to steal my stats. Ha! Thank you for your attributes. Don't you know? If you fight me, you'll become weaker and weaker, while I'll become stronger and stronger. Suddenly, Sky Thief's voice rang out from behind him. Sky Pilfer was right. If this continued, Lu Chen would not be a match for him. Based on his opponent's speed, even if he activated his Divine Devil astral form, he wouldn't be able to catch up. Moreover, the Divine Devil astral form only lasted for a dozen seconds, while his opponent could maintain it for a long time. For a moment, even the experienced Lu Chen was at his wit's end. Damn it, what the hell is this? Sky Thief's actions started to become more frequent. Every time he didn't need to touch Lu Chen, he only needed to pass by Lu Chen, and Lu Chen would lose a large amount of his stats. After several star core enhancements, his 3-dimensional stats were around 900,000 and his spiritual energy was around 1,800,000. In addition to the 40% boost from the 10 Wings and Creation Bloodline, his 3-dimensional stats were around 1,300,000 and his spiritual energy was around 2,400,000. These stats were already far above the average 1-star Emperor Xiao. However, no matter how high his stats were, he couldn't keep being stolen like this. Agility decreased by 10,000 points. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's system notifications were already flooding the screen. Divine Devil Astral Form. Lu Chen was forced to activate his Divine Devil Astral Form without any assurance. However, his opponent didn't appear. Either his astral form's grade was higher than the Divine Devil Astral Form, or he wasn't using his astral form at all. Ha! You have the Divine Devil Astral Form? Your 9 transformations of the Divine Devil has already reached the 7th stage? Not bad. But so what? You won't be able to catch me. Brat, weren't you very confident just now? Why you standing there like an idiot now? I told you before, even if I told you that I wanted to steal your stats, you wouldn't be able to do anything. During the Divine Devil Astral Form, that guy didn't attack again. However, the Divine Devil Astral Form only lasted for a dozen seconds. Once the time was up, Sky Pilfering would come again. Lu Chen was already in a passive position. After using his trump card, the Divine Devil Astral Form, it didn't have any effect. Instead, he lost an extremely important trump card. Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain. Suppressive Fire. Lu Chen tried to fire his spiritual cannons in all directions. Ha! You're blind in front of me. Do you think this kind of skill can hit me? Fierce Tiger Descends the Mountain. Sacred Lotus Sword Heart. Lu Chen immediately swung his sword in the direction of the voice. Sword chi crisscrossed, and the mountain in the distance was directly bombarded by a large amount of sword chi. However, in the next second his opponent's voice sounded again. Stop struggling. You can't even see me. Do you think you can hit me? Dream on. While speaking, that figure actually passed by Lu Chen's back when Lu Chen swung his sword. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Strength decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's side had a powerful battle strength, but there was nothing he could do. This was the first time Lu Chen had encountered such a passive situation since his debut. Speaking of which, although this sky pilfering was only good at stealing, if he kept stealing other people's stats, just how terrifying would his level be? This guy, if not for love, not to mention the high-level heaven domain, he would be invincible in the 6th heaven. Calm down. Lu Chen took a deep breath. At this time, if he panicked, he would have no chance of winning. Every time he stole, there would be a small amount of spiritual energy fluctuations. It was just that the other party's range of movement was too large and his speed was too fast. Lu Chen was always late to notice. Brat, don't waste your time. Just obediently wait for me to steal everything. Not only do I want to steal your stats, I also want to steal your skills and equipment. Sky pilfering was nearby, but Lu Chen couldn't find him. Lu Chen tried his best not to be distracted by sky pilfering and continued to think of countermeasures. If his spiritual energy perception was a bit more sensitive, he might be able to find him. During battle, Lu Chen's spiritual energy was still a bit lacking. Unless he used the selfless state, but entering the selfless state in battle was courting death. At that time, the enemy wouldn't need to steal his stats and could just directly kill Lu Chen. Just a bit more. Lu Chen's brows were tightly knit. Was there any way to make up for this difference? Suddenly, Lu Chen's eyes opened wide. He thought of a skill that could slightly increase his spiritual energy perception. Creation. In the creation space he created, his spiritual energy perception was much more sensitive than in the outside world. However, the flexibility of the creation space was currently the biggest weakness. Lu Chen couldn't even catch sky pilfering himself, let alone use the creation space to cover him. Then cover this entire place. Lu Chen gritted his teeth. Soul and body as one. Divine Demon Lotus Heart, Inner Demon. He directly activated the full state. Not only that, he also transferred 5 million of Tian Wei's attributes to his spiritual energy. At this point, Lu Chen's spiritual energy broke through 20 million. 22 million spiritual energy. Why is your battle soul's spiritual energy so high? Sky pilfering seemed to be able to sense Lu Chen's spiritual energy value. He was also shocked by such a terrifying amount of spiritual energy. A 1-star Great Emperor could raise his spiritual energy to 22 million when he was at his limit. In the midst of the violent spiritual energy explosion, Lu Chen's white hair fluttered. He coldly snorted. Sky pilfering, your tricks are useless against me. You know sky pilfering? But sorry, I know creation. After saying that, Lu Chen angrily shouted. He raised his palms and his eyes were about to split open. Creation space. Chapter 1132. This was probably the most terrifying creation space that Lu Chen had ever created. After all, Sky Pilfer was in charge of stealing attributes. He probably wouldn't make a move until he suppressed Lu Chen's attributes to a low enough level. Since that was the case, he would give Lu Chen enough time to accumulate power. A transparent light shield completely covered the entire back mountain. At the entrance of the back mountain, Tai Hao and the others could see the phenomenon from afar. That's the creation space. Ma Bei's eyes widened. How can it be so big? Everyone had already noticed the tremors in the mountain and knew that there was a fierce battle going on inside. However, seeing the terrifying creation space at this moment was enough to make them tremble in fear. What kind of battle was it that could force Lu Chen to use such a terrifying concept skill? Tai Hao had also heard of Lu Chen's creation space, but seeing it with his own eyes, he couldn't help but be shocked. Damn, this is not on the same level as the creation space I know. According to the intelligence department, the creation space can't reach such a terrifying level. He Xing also said, when he fought with the King of Hell, Nameless didn't use such a terrifying creation space. Could it be that the monster in the main spirit vein is stronger than the King of Hell? No one saw the fierce battle in the valley, so they naturally didn't know the specific situation. The valley was now covered by the creation space. What kind of concept is this? Sky Pilfer's voice came. Sky Pilfer was indeed trapped in the creation space. Lu Chen smiled faintly. This is your grave. What a joke. It's just a newly created world. Sky Pilfer had already discovered the principle of creation. Gathering spiritual energy to form a sword shadow? Sorry, your sword shadow still can't catch up to me. Wait until I steal all your attributes, then I'll break your creation space. Lu Chen closed his eyes and observed the changes in the surrounding spiritual energy with his heaven's eye. Just behind him, the surrounding spiritual energy fluctuated. 9 void steps. Lu Chen immediately pulled away. A black shadow flashed, but Lu Chen pulled a distance of 30 meters and dodged it. In front of Lu Chen, Sky Pilfer revealed his true form and looked at Lu Chen in shock. You actually dodged it? Lu Chen faintly smiled. Everything has spiritual energy. Even if the spiritual energy here is thin and I can't catch your figure, I can still avoid you by observing the changes in the surrounding spiritual energy when you move. So what? You can only prevent me from stealing your stats, but you will never be able to defeat me. Lu Chen sneered. No, this is just the beginning. As I said, your tricks are useless against me. Really? It seems you've underestimated me. Sky Thief grinned. You don't think I don't have any skills, do you? Just now, I was just playing with you. Next, the show has just begun. After he finished speaking, Sky Pilfering disappeared once again. Sky Pilfering Sun Swapping. Lu Chen suddenly discovered that several hundred strands of qi had transformed and were currently pouncing towards him from all directions. Is this a doppelganger? Lu Chen frowned. No, it's not a doppelganger. Every strand of qi is exactly the same. This is an illusion caused by the speed being too fast. Sky Pilfering's speed had reached an unimaginable level. Now, the only chance was that Lu Chen could already perceive Sky Pilfering's position. Void 9 steps. Lu Chen quickly dodged. 1 void 9 steps was obviously not enough. Infinite 7 stars chasing the moon. Triple door. However, even if Lu Chen used a large number of displacement skills, he couldn't completely avoid Sky Pilfering. Body's spiritual energy decreased by 80,000 points. Body's physique decreased by 240,000 points. After activating Sky Pilfering Sun Swapping, Lu Chen's attribute drop was even more terrifying. As I said before, I was just playing with you. Now, it's time to take your life. No matter how many attributes you have, you can only stretch out your neck to be slaughtered. Let's see what good equipment you have. Lost item Silver Gall? Lu Chen was shocked. Silver Gall was gone. What about skills? I'll borrow them too. Lost skill, Devil Doppelganger. I actually can't steal your Devil God's life reversal skill. However, this doppelganger is a bit interesting. Devil Doppelganger. Using Heaven's Eye, Lu Chen found that Sky Pilfering had more than 20 doppelgangers. Damn it, this guy is so strong. The creation space did allow Lu Chen to see traces of Sky Pilfering, but Lu Chen still underestimated his strength. The original situation was that he couldn't see and couldn't block it. The current situation was that he could see, but he still couldn't block it. Let's see what good stuff you have in your backpack. Lost item, Memory Teardrop. Lu Chen couldn't fight back at all. He could only watch as his attributes, equipment, skills, and items were all stolen by this guy. Especially when the Memory Teardrop was lost. Memory Teardrop. Lu Chen glared angrily. Give it back to me. Lu Chen chased after a figure, but he was quickly shaken off. Not only that, but because he went too deep, he lost a lot of attributes. Sky Pilfering appeared in front of Lu Chen, holding the 2 memory teardrops in his hand. He looked at Lu Chen in surprise. This time, he didn't smile. He looked at Lu Chen with a dark expression. You actually snatched this from the hands of myriad underworld soul. Lu Chen looked at Sky Pilfering coldly. So what if I did? I couldn't tell that you're also an infatuated person. Unfortunately, the stronger you are, the more things you need to forget. So, I'd rather never be strong enough. That way, I'll never forget autumn. Sky pilfering suddenly threw the memory teardrop to Lu Chen. Go, I won't kill you. Lu Chen put away the memory teardrop and stared at Sky pilfering. The victor between us hasn't been decided yet. Sky pilfering narrowed his eyes. You're not my opponent at all. Although I admit that I can't beat you in a head-on battle, a battle of life and death isn't the only way. Your current attributes are less than 1/5 of your original attributes. When your soul-body fusion ends, my attributes will increase greatly. With your skills, what will you use to fight me? Lu Chen said coldly. You said that you can steal anything, but just now I've proven that it's not the case. Oh! Sky pilfering frowned and looked at Lu Chen. You can't steal my battle soul's attributes, and you can't steal my demon god's fate reversal skill. You can't use my Genesis equipment either. The battle soul's attributes are separated from the body's attributes. You're fighting with your original body, so your attributes don't match, so you can't steal it. Demon god's fate reversal has already recognized its owner, so you can't steal it. My Genesis is a skill that I comprehended on my own, so you can't steal it. After Sky pilfering heard this, he smiled. Alright, you're right, but so what if you know? I can steal all your attributes. When your soul-body fusion ends, you'll be immortal. Not to mention that you have a few pieces of Demon God's Fate Reversal. Even if you have an entire set of Demon God's Fate Reversal, you'll still be easily killed by me. Lu Chen sneered. Didn't I say that I have something that you can't steal? It's precisely these things that you can't steal that can take your life. If you can't break the Genesis space, then you're already a dead man. Lu Chen took a deep breath. You only know that I have Genesis, but you don't know that I have a second skill, right? Sky pilfering's calm expression suddenly changed. He widened his eyes. From the other party's expression, it seemed that this kid wasn't joking. Lu Chen sneered. You should be the first person to make me use this move. The one who should feel despair is you. With that, Lu Chen angrily shouted. Destroy for me. Destruction Stardust. Chapter 1133. Lu Chen directly fused the Destruction Stardust with the creation space. Using his control of the creation space, he expanded the range of the Destruction Stardust. A large number of sword shadows began to quickly disintegrate. The corners of the 9 statues began to disintegrate. Gravel fell off the faces of the towering statues. Sky Thief felt that his body seemed to have been affected. The tattered clothes on his body disintegrated into thin lines in front of his eyes. The thin lines then broke into several segments until it was difficult to see them clearly with the naked eye. Seeing this scene, Sky Thief looked at Lu Chen in shock. Impossible! I have seen the Destruction Stardust before. It has to attack the opponent's body for it to take effect. How can it have an effect before you even touch me? This is too exaggerated. Lu Chen said coldly, I didn't touch you. Your speed is too fast. I can't keep up with your speed. But the spiritual energy in the creation space can. Sky Thief's eyes widened. After thinking for a moment, he finally found the source of the problem. You used the creation space not to kill me with those sword shadows, but to fill this space with the spiritual energy produced by the creation space. That's right. In the creation space, my spiritual energy will be greatly enhanced. After all, this is a space created by me. Lu Chen said, the creation space will constantly split the spiritual energy. When this spiritual energy fills the entire space, I can locate your position. Not only that, I can also use them as a medium to directly use the Destruction Stardust. Sky Thief was already shocked. Having 2 powerful concepts at the same time was already unimaginable. And this guy was even using these 2 concepts together. The power was even more unimaginable. He had never heard of such a usage before. It was even more impossible for him to guard against it. In other words, he thought he had already won. But in reality, the one who had lost was not that kid, but himself. Your speed can't catch up to me. In a situation where you haven't even touched me, you can actually kill me. Sky Thief looked at this person in horror. It seemed like he was in a passive position, but the result was the exact opposite. Haha, it seems like I was careless. I didn't think that someone would be able to use a concept skill to such an extent. Alright, I admit defeat. Heaven Pilfer smiled. I can return the steel attribute to you, and the divine demon Heaven Eyes is also yours. It doesn't matter if you kill me or not, but I beg you not to harm Qiu Ming. As he spoke, Sky Thief walked 10 meters in front of Lu Qin and handed Silver Guts and Demon God's Omniscient Eyes to Lu Qin. Body's spiritual energy, 1,900,000, strength, 980,000, agility, 1,040,000, physique, 1,010,000. Skill, Devil Clone, recovered. I know that your Academy of Wunyan has wanted to get rid of me for a long time. You can kill me or torture me as you wish, but please don't hurt Qiu Ming. Sky Thief looked at Lu Qin calmly. Suddenly, Lu Qin waved his hand, and the creation space and destruction stardust all disappeared. Sky Thief looked at Lu Qin in surprise. He didn't understand why Lu Qin would suddenly stop. Lu Qin smiled. You didn't kill me before, so why should I kill you? This is no longer the Academy of Wunyan. Wunyan has already closed down because of you. Now this is the Divine Demon Academy. Lu Qin said. I'm the Dean of the Demonic Academy, Solipsistic. After speaking, Lu Qin looked at the crystal coffin on the lake and sighed. I didn't know that Senior Qiu Ming was the spiritual source here. That was left behind by the ancestor of the Academy of Wunyan. Senior Sky Thief, do you know why Senior Qiu Ming can be used as the spiritual source? Sky Thief frowned and didn't speak for a long time. It seemed like he didn't want to tell Lu Qin. Seeing this, Lu Qin thought that there must be something special about Qiu Ming that could be used as the spiritual source. Sky Thief was afraid that he would have evil thoughts, so he didn't want to tell the truth. After thinking about it, Lu Qin swung his sword several times and directly cut the 9 statues in half. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The 9 huge stone statues collapsed. Sky Thief looked at Lu Qin in shock. That's the 9 God Spirit crossing array set up by that dog Wunyan. If you destroy it, the spirit vein here will be completely destroyed. Lu Qin put away the divine demon limitless sword. If it's destroyed, then so be it. The 9 God Spirit crossing array is the main spirit vein of the Academy of Wunyan, but it doesn't belong to my Divine Demon Academy. After that, I will get someone to remove the seal array near the main spirit vein. Senior Sky Thief can take Senior Qiu Ming and leave. It's just that. I advise you to let it go when it's time. The dead can't be revived. Let Senior Qiu Ming rest in peace. Thank you, Senior, for your divine demon heavenly eye. Lu Qin cupped his fists and turned to leave. Looking at the back of the departing figure, Sky Thief couldn't believe his ears. Sky Thief's eyelids twitched. Not only did this solipsistic not hurt them, he even destroyed the 9 God Spirit crossing array. And even set him free. Wait, solipsistic. Sky Thief suddenly called out to Lu Qin. Lu Qin turned back in surprise. Senior, is there something else? Do you know why Qiu Ming can be a spirit source? Lu Qin turned around and waited for Sky Thief to continue. Qiu Ming isn't dead. Lu Qin's eyes widened. What? You didn't hear wrong. Qiu Ming isn't a human. She's a spirit artifact like me. Sky Thief's eyes seemed to pass through time and space, returning to who knows how many years ago. Lu Qin was instantly shocked. Sky Thief and Qiu Ming were both artifact spirits? Sky Thief continued. Back then, my master and his master came to the 6th layer of heaven. Unfortunately, they encountered a sudden change and both of them fell. Mai and her Dharma bodies were also destroyed. After that, Qiu Ming met Wunyan. She easily believed Wunyan's flowery words and was willing to assist Wunyan. She helped him kill everyone in Xinyuan continent and establish Wunyan Academy. However, Wunyan wasn't satisfied. He wanted to break into the Immortal Corpse Mound and the Demon Monarch's lair. However, he wasn't strong enough. At the critical moment, Qiu Ming sacrificed herself to protect her master and helped Wunyan block the Demon Monarch's 8th-floor pagoda. She fell into a coma ever since. Wunyan later saw that Qiu Ming hadn't woken up for a long time. The spirit vein he chose seemed to be abundant, but in fact, it was just a momentary recovery and was close to exhaustion. For his reputation and to protect Wu Nian Academy, he used Qiu Ming as a spirit source and used the 9-god spirit crossing array to extract her spirit energy. Qiu Ming was already seriously injured. With her spirit energy being continuously extracted, it was naturally impossible for her to wake up. After listening to Sky Thief's story, Lu Chen frowned. He didn't expect that there was such a past between Wu Nian and Qiu Ming. Sky Thief looked at the stone tablet of Autumn Thought Lake. His eyes filled with helplessness. If I wasn't an artifact spirit, I would have destroyed that stone tablet countless times. What Autumn Thought Lake? You think you're righteous just because you set up a stone tablet? That's ridiculous. Lu Chen frowned. No wonder your speed is so fast. When you move, your spirit energy fluctuations are so small that I can hardly detect them. You're also not in the astral state. You're an artifact spirit. So you've been stealing my attributes and not attacking because you can't use your combat power to attack? Sky Thief nodded. That's not the case. Because I don't have a Dharmakaya, my attack power is very low. As long as you wait for the fusion of soul and body to end and become immortal, I can still easily kill you. So Sky Thief and Qiu Ming were both artifact spirits. In other words, their Dharmakayas were artifact-level equipment. He didn't expect the 6th heaven to have an artifact. Speaking of artifacts, Lu Chen suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, Sky Thief, what's your Dharmakaya's original form? Chapter 1134. Sky Pilfer's ability wasn't weak. Even Lu Chen was almost defeated. If he hadn't used the star dust of destruction and the creation space, he wouldn't have been able to fight back at all. But he had to admit that Sky Pilfer's appearance really couldn't be associated with an expert. His clothes were ragged, his back was hunched, his body was shriveled, and his skin looked like it had been burned. This image reminded Lu Chen of a piece of broken equipment that he had obtained not long ago. Sky Pilfer and the fire rod were indeed a good match. The mirror surface 7 elements to 1 had existed a long time ago. Calculating the time, it seemed to match. My original body is... Forget it, it's useless to say this. It's already destroyed anyway. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, then took out a piece of rotten wood from his backpack. When you stole my equipment, why didn't you steal this? Now it was Sky Pilfer's turn to be shocked. You? How did you get this thing? Lu Chen chuckled. Walking around the forbidden areas of each continent, there will always be some special discoveries. Why, this is your original body's Dharma body, right? No, this is Qiu Ming's. Lu Chen froze. Qiu Ming was so beautiful. How could she be the spirit of this broken fire rod? Don't look like that. This is the Chaos Magic Staff. The Chaos Magic Staff wasn't like this in the past. You have to know that Qiu Ming was the main spirit vein and spiritual source of the Academy of Intentionless for thousands of years. The spiritual power it contains is terrifying. This is something I can't compare to. If I have the Chaos Magic Staff, I might be able to wake Qiu Ming up. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then threw the Chaos Magic Staff to Sky Pilfer. Then I'll give the staff to you. Whether you can save Senior Qiu Ming or not will depend on your own ability. You're giving this divine weapon to me just like that? Lu Chen said indifferently. This thing doesn't seem to be of much use to me. If it doesn't even have a spirit, it won't be very powerful in the future. It's better to give it to you. Besides, I'm afraid that after you see it, I won't be able to prevent you from stealing it from me one day. Why don't I give it to you as a favor? Alright, I'll head back first. I'll get someone to remove the seal. You can leave with Qiu Ming. Lu Chen turned around, but he suddenly thought of something. He stopped and looked at Sky Thief. You're not allowed to steal from our academy. After saying this, Lu Chen felt relieved and left the main spirit vein. Looking at Lu Chen's departing figure, Sky Thief's eyes turned red. Solipsistic, is there really an immortal cultivator like you in this world? Alright, I, heaven stealing, will remember this favor. After saying that, he turned around and walked towards the crystal coffin. Qiu Ming, I can steal the sky and switch the sun, but I can't steal the Chaos Magic Staff. I didn't expect that when I wasn't stealing, someone would actually give it to me. I will definitely save you. Lu Chen finally came out of the main spiritual vein. At this time, he was in a weak state, but fortunately, the people waiting for him at the door were all his friends. Nameless is here. He, Xing, and the others hurried to greet her. Nameless, what's the situation inside? Just now, I saw you use the creation space, but it suddenly disappeared. You used the heavenly might of the gods and devils? What kind of monster is inside? It's actually the heavenly might of the gods and devils and the creation space? Did you kill him? Lu Chen shook his head tiredly. I didn't kill him, I was almost killed by him. Ah. Lu Chen said, I'm a little tired, I'm going to rest. Mabe, please remove the defense array here. That guy shouldn't cause trouble anymore, and there won't be any more spirit veins here. Mabe's face was full of suspicion. He didn't understand Lu Chen's words. Lu Chen saw Lu Chen's puzzled face and said, I've reached an agreement with the guy inside. He will leave here, and the spirit vein here no longer exists, so there won't be any more spirit veins here. The god and devil sacred courtyard will temporarily use the secondary spirit vein to hold on for a while. Lu Chen's weakened state made him look very tired. Everyone saw that he was in a bad mood, so they didn't continue to ask. All right, since you said it's fine, I'll immediately send someone to remove the seal array here. Lu Chen nodded and returned to his residence to rest for the time being. Lu Yi went to help Lu Chen boil medicine. Her medicine couldn't alleviate Lu Chen's weak attribute, but it could make Lu Chen feel better. After drinking the medicine, Lu Chen felt much better. Little Green, what ingredients are missing from the formula of the top-grade immortal pill? Well, there are still 2 ingredients missing. One is the Buddha lotus heart, and the other is the God entangling vine. Lu Chen had never seen these 2 medicines before. He would see if he could meet them in the future. When he found these ingredients, Little Green could try to break through to the immortal alchemist master. Then what about the materials for your rebirth? Little Green smiled. Boss, let's talk about that if we're fated. Don't worry about us now. Let's see how we're going to deal with Er's matter this time. Boss, although I'm worried about your safety if possible, I hope you don't kill Gio. Little Green said with some sadness. She's a good girl and she likes you so much. Lu Chen sighed. I'm afraid that the current her strength is unfathomable. I didn't expect that because I was a step slower, it would cause today's situation. Boss, you don't have to blame yourself. We all know that it's not that you don't want to go back, it's that you can't go back. No one can do everything so perfectly. Lu Chen nodded. He could only think of a way to save Gio now. Following which, Lu Chen took out the God and Demon Heavenly Eye. God and Demon Heaven's Might, God and Demon Origin Sutra, God and Demon Limitless Sword, God and Demon Lotus Heart, Emptiness of Gods and Demons Arm, God and Demon 7 Transformations, plus this God and Demon Heavenly Eye. Lu Chen already had 7 pieces of the God and Demon set. If an ordinary set had 9 pieces, then excluding the God and Demon Heavenly Eye, Lu Chen was only 1 piece away. Now, Lu Chen was not in a hurry to fuse with the Heavenly Eye. He needed to recover his strength first. I actually found 2 pieces of the God and Demon set in the 6th layer of heaven. Lu Chen felt that his luck was not bad. The other one wouldn't be in the Thunder Academy, right? This was what the people in the mountains told him to go. They definitely wouldn't tell him to go for no reason. It's been less than a day since the 7-day agreement. There's still time, but it's best to ask if there's anything strange about the Thunder Academy so as not to waste time. Now, Lu Chen didn't dare to waste a single day. After all, 1 day here was equivalent to a month of cultivation for Gio. Her strength had increased by a bit. That night, Lu Chen found Tai Hao and asked about the Thunder Academy. You asked if anything strange happened in the Thunder Academy in recent years? Dad, think about it. Tian Xian urged from the side. Aya, you little girl, at least let me remember. Tai Hao's heart ached. He had raised his daughter for nothing, and it was all taken advantage of by others. Strange, I haven't heard of anything strange in the Thunder Academy. Tai Hao frowned and said, It's usually very difficult to hide something really big. For example, the abnormality of the main spirit vein in the Wu Nian Academy, or the star phenomenon in the Purple Mountain continent. And the Thunder Academy, other than being strong, has always been peaceful. Lu Chen frowned. If there was nothing wrong with the Thunder Academy, then why did the people in the mountains ask him to go? It seemed that it was impossible to figure this out in 2 days, and Lu Chen didn't have more time now. After a moment of silence, Lu Chen suddenly said, "There are 6 days left before the 7-day agreement. It seems that I don't have time to go to the Thunder Academy. I can only fight with the Purple Heaven Palace in my current state. Senior Taihao, please take me to the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace. I want to borrow the Immortal Emperor Mountain Realm." Chapter 1135. Taihao brought Lu Chen to the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace. At this time, Lu Chen and Taihao were standing in front of a small mud hut. In the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace, this hut looked out of place with the surrounding palaces. It looked more like a house that the natives of the fifth heaven lived in. It was old and small. Lu Chen kept frowning. What happened to the Immortal Emperor Mountain Realm? The name was so domineering. Could it be here? Speaking of which, in Buddhism, Shumi meant the king of the mountains. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't match with this small broken house. Senior Taihao, this is the Immortal Emperor Mountain Realm? Lu Chen couldn't help but ask. Taihao seemed to see through Lu Chen's thoughts and said with a smile, "That's right. Are you a little disappointed?" Lu Chen blinked. "Not really. I'm just afraid that I'll destroy this place if I cultivate here." Nameless. Don't worry. Even if there are 10,000 of you, you won't be able to touch the mountain realm. There's a universe inside. Hearing Taihao's words, Lu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Senior Taihao, are there any benefits to cultivating here? Lu Chen still wanted to ask clearly so that he could focus on his cultivation. Taihao shook his head. I don't know because everyone sees and hears different things in the mountain realm. The mountain realm is an independent space that isn't affected by the Jiotian. You can probably think of it as a whirlpool world. The mountain realm can only be opened once every 500 years for 5 days. There are some geniuses from our Royal Heaven Immortal Palace who have entered to cultivate as well. Some of them could only raise their levels, some of them could comprehend immortal arts, some of them could comprehend or level up their intent realm techniques. The strongest of them could even comprehend the Tao state. Tao realm? Lu Chen didn't understand. Starting from the fifth heaven, the main body enters the Jutian. Although the strength of the battle soul is limited, there are also benefits that the battle soul can't compare to. For example, someone has mastered some skills that are not learned from skill books, such as your spirit chi refinement, creation space, and destruction stardust. At the end of the day, these skills are actually a kind of concept. It's just that the usage and performance are different. And the pinnacle of intent realm techniques is the Tao realm. With that, Taihao laughed bitterly and self-deprecatingly. That's probably all I can explain. After all, I haven't comprehended the Tao realm. It's a realm that can compete with immortal techniques. Even a true immortal might not have his own Tao realm. Lu Chen said in surprise, Senior Taihao also did not comprehend the Tao realm? Didn't you say that someone from the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace comprehended the Tao realm? There is. He's the one who founded the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Right now, that person has already undergone his tribulation and ascended to immortality. Lu Chen's eyes widened. That super expert was actually the founder of the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Taihao had explained enough and said, in short, what you can get here depends on you. Lu Chen sighed and said, it only opens once every 500 years. Senior Taihao, Nameless has taken this opportunity. I really don't know how to thank you. Taihao smiled slightly. Nameless, I'm helping you this time, but there's a condition. If I'm not wrong, Purple Knight Emperor's goal is not just to kill Yi Fan or destroy the Demonic Academy. In the past, Purple Sky Palace had to give some face to Zhongxinge. But this time, they're clashing with you at your ranking ceremony. They must have something to rely on. You might not know, but Jiu, Is not the only monster in Purple Sky Palace. And we found out that they've been in frequent contact with the Heavenly Music Parlor recently. Calculating the time, the Heavenly Music Parlor's Heavenly Music Parlor should be coming out of seclusion. If the Heavenly Music Parlor comes out, then those hidden experts of the sixth heaven will probably not sit still. If that's the case, the 7-day agreement might just be a fuse, a sign that all the sixth heaven experts will come out. At this point, Taihao took a deep breath and let out a long sigh. My Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace will definitely be in the eye of the storm. It'll be difficult to stay out of it. Taihao looked at Lu Qin. Nameless, I don't ask you to get involved in this storm for the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, but, if anything happens to me, please help me take care of Tian Xing. Lu Qin frowned deeply. Senior Taihao, alright, it's getting late. Hurry up and go in. Taihao smiled at Lu Qin. He pinched his fingers together and activated the Immortal Emperor Meru realm. Lu Qin was a little nervous. He didn't know what kind of opportunity he would encounter in the Immortal Emperor Meru realm. As soon as he entered the shabby hut, Lu Qin was shocked by the scene in front of him. There was indeed a universe inside that hut. In front of him was a huge mountain range that towered into the clouds. Just the foot of the mountain was already in the clouds. He didn't know how high the peak was. Standing at the foot of the mountain, Lu Qin looked at his surroundings. The sky was clear and the breeze was gentle, caressing Lu Qin's skin. The surrounding was filled with birds chirping and flowers fragrant. Just the environment here could wash away Lu Qin's evil aura and make him forget all his worries. He only felt that his body and mind were incomparably relaxed. This is my Meru realm? Lu Qin looked up at the huge mountain. Let's go up and take a look. Lu Qin wanted to summon 10-winged, but he couldn't summon a mount here. He switched to using the Blood Demon Bone Wings, but there was no reaction from his back. He couldn't even use a displacement skill. It can't be. You want me to walk up the mountain? How long will it take to climb up such a tall mountain? Don't even talk about cultivating up there. Lu Qin frowned. However, he didn't know if it was the environment that made Lu Qin calm, or if it was Lu Qin's original personality, or a combination of both. In short, Lu Qin walked toward the huge mountain without hesitation. At the foot of the mountain, Lu Qin found that there were stone steps in front of him. Countless stone steps extended all the way up until he couldn't see clearly. Damn, are these stone steps that lead to the heavens? They're so high. Lu Qin sighed. Fortunately, I still have my original attributes. If I speed up, I should be able to reach the peak sooner. Lu Qin took a deep breath and stepped on the stone steps. However, when Lu Qin stepped on it, he suddenly felt like he was stepping on cotton. His foot missed. Because there was no place to exert force, Lu Qin couldn't continue walking up. Lu Qin widened his eyes and looked at the step. His foot was stuck in it. He lifted his foot and could still move it out, but he couldn't climb up. What's going on? Lu Qin activated his heavenly eye to check the stone steps under his feet. What a rich spiritual energy! Lu Qin was shocked. One had to know that the spiritual energy of stones was the most difficult to dissipate. However, the spiritual energy emitted by the stone under his feet was so rich that he felt like he was stepping on a ball of spiritual energy. Lu Qin tried to step on it again, but his left foot once again sank into the stone steps. Lu Qin frowned. He had been in Jiutian for many years, but he had never encountered such a strange thing. He tried to climb up the slope next to the stone steps, but the situation was the same as the stone steps. He stepped on nothing. No way, I can't go up this mountain? Lu Qin was a little anxious. This was his last chance to fight with Jiu, but he was trapped at the foot of the mountain. Chapter 1136. After several attempts, Lu Qin used spirit chi subtlety and selflessness, but in the end he failed. He could see the mountain clearly, but he couldn't even go up the first step. If he couldn't even go up the mountain, how could there be an opportunity? Lu Qin sat at the foot of the mountain and looked at the steps in front of him at a loss. Isn't this a fake mountain? Did all the people who came in the past go through these steps? Lu Qin looked like he had nothing to live for. You can give me a time and space. Jiu, or must have been cultivating for a few days. After a moment of melancholy, Lu Chen thought of the equipment he had just obtained. He originally thought that if the mountain realm was also a time and space, then he could fuse with the heavenly eye in the mountain realm, but now it seemed that there was no difference. Taking out the black and white ball of light, Lu Chen examined it repeatedly. If not for the fact that the heaven-stealing eye was an artifact spirit, he would have fused with it long ago. Is this a magic treasure for the heavenly eye position? It should be fine to put it in the equipment slot, right? Lu Chen was just about to put the heavenly eye into his equipment slot. As he spoke, the ball of light slowly rose from Lu Chen's palm and floated in front of Lu Chen. What are you doing? Just as Lu Chen was looking at the ball of light split into two, one black and one white. Then, tentacles extended and stuck to Lu Chen's eyeballs. Damn! What are you doing? Lu Chen hurriedly grabbed the two balls of light. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching pain came, and Lu Chen couldn't help but scream. The two balls of light actually drilled into Lu Chen's eyeballs. Then, Lu Chen could even feel that the two balls of light were extending countless tentacles and fusing with the meridians inside his eyeballs. To be precise, they were first severing the original meridians and then reconstructing them. This kind of pain was not something that could be eliminated in a short period of time. Waves of intense pain came from his eyes. Lu Chen fell to the ground in pain and rolled back and forth. His eyes were tightly shut and his face was ferocious. His hands formed into claws, but he did not dare to grab his eyeballs. Ah! Lu Chen screamed until he fainted from the pain. After an unknown period of time, Lu Chen slowly woke up. He slowly opened his eyes, and his consciousness gradually became clear. He had fainted while fusing with the fiend god Heavenly Eyes. Little Green, how much time has passed? Lu Chen asked weakly as he lay there. Boss, you were unconscious for an entire day. One day. Lu Chen quickly sat up. On the day that he had fainted, had cultivated for an entire month. Fortunately, the fusion with the celestial demon Heavenly Eyes had been completed, so Lu Chen did not feel any discomfort. It's actually another piece of equipment that was modified from the original body. The fiend god Heavenly Eyes was the same as the emptiness of God's and Demon's arm. It did not appear on the skill panel after the fusion. Hey, Heavenly Eyes, it almost hurt to death. Great ethereal arm, at least tell me its effects. Aren't you going to explain it? Lu Chen tried to talk to his eyes. The eyes did not speak. No way, I have to figure it out myself? I don't have that much time now. Lu Chen held his forehead, feeling that he was really under pressure. The Heavenly Eyes effect should be a support type. Rhubarb. Lu Chen called out Rhubarb. Lend me the mirror. Rhubarb was still unwilling to give the mirror to Lu Chen, but Lu Chen directly snatched the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror away. I'm just looking at a mirror. Do you have to do this? Lu Chen picked up the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror and vaguely saw his eyes in the mirror. They were no different from usual. It's probably the same as the Great Ethereal Arm. It will only become the Fiend God Heavenly Eyes when it needs to work. Lu Chen was about to return the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror to Rhubarb when he suddenly froze. Isn't this mirror called the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror? Why is it called the 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror now? Did I remember it wrong? The name at the bottom of the mirror did change to 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror. Lu Chen thought about it carefully. He definitely remembered it correctly. This thing turned out to be the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror. Rhubarb, did you do it? Rhubarb wagged his tail happily with a proud face. Lu Chen didn't know why the mirror became the 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror, but Rhubarb was still a trash at the moment. This had not changed. He shook his head and said, Hey, forget it. Anyway, you don't seem to be useful except for cheering. Here's the mirror. After recalling Rhubarb, Lu Chen pondered about the Fiend God Heavenly Eyes in his heart. Lu Chen estimated, the eyes are related. One is the eyesight in battle, including locking on to the opponent, seeing through illusions, etc. The other is the ability to see different things. Thinking of this, Lu Chen walked to the stone steps and continued to observe the stone steps. Fiend God Heavenly Eyes. Lu Chen shouted casually. He sat in front of the stone steps and stared at the stone steps with his eyes wide open. After holding this position for a few minutes, Lu Chen's eyes were sore and he stopped trying. Fuck, except for seeing a little more clearly, it's useless. He tried all kinds of methods, but he still couldn't go up Mount Meru. He didn't know how to use the fiend god heavenly eyes. Lu Chen felt that his luck at the critical moment was really bad. However, Lu Chen didn't give up yet. I used spiritual chi subtlety before, but I didn't get the fiend god heavenly eyes at that time. Now I'll try again. Lu Chen didn't use the heavenly eyes to observe the movement of spiritual chi. Instead, he directly used his eyes. This time, Lu Chen finally found something different. Under the spiritual chi subtlety, he could see even more subtle things. He could clearly see the spiritual chi emitted by the stone steps, and it was slowly moving. Lu Chen's eyes widened. In the past, he could see spiritual chi at most, but now he could see spiritual chi threads. Did the spiritual chi subtlety level up? Under the microscopic observation, Lu Chen found that the spiritual chi emitted by the stone steps was constantly escaping outwards. He tried to press his hand down, and the spiritual chi flow formed by the spiritual chi threads began to sink in. This should be the reason why he failed when he stepped on it. Lu Chen frowned. Just as he was thinking of countermeasures, he found a stone beside him. The spiritual chi structure was very similar to the stone steps. Lu Chen picked up the stone and placed it on the stone steps. Something strange happened. The spiritual chi structure of the two was almost exactly the same. After the stone was placed on it, the spiritual chi flow of the stone steps didn't sink. The stone steps withstood the weight of the stone and didn't sink. Lu Chen's eyes widened. I understand now. I need to synchronize the spiritual chi I emit with the stone steps. Only then can I step on the stone steps. Thinking of this, Lu Chen began to test the spiritual chi threads emitted from his palm. Every spiritual chi thread can't have a mistake. Lu Chen held his breath and focused all his attention on his hand. He carefully adjusted the spiritual chi emitted from his palm. A few hours later, Lu Chen gently placed his palm on the stone steps. This time, he clearly felt that his palm was pressing on something solid. He exerted a little more force, but the stone steps still didn't sink. Success! Lu Chen said in surprise. If he could adjust the spiritual chi emitted from his palm, adjusting his feet wouldn't be difficult. After another 10 minutes, Lu Chen stood up and carefully stepped on the stone steps. A steady feeling came from his feet. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and stepped on it. The stone steps didn't sink. Lu Chen stood on the stone steps. Finally, Lu Chen stood on the first step. Chapter 1137. Although he had spent more than a day and only reached the first step, Lu Chen felt that he had already won. Haha, I finally figured it out. Lu Chen laughed and stepped onto the second step. However, Lu Chen followed the method of the first step. As soon as he stepped on it, his left foot sank into the stone step. Fuck? What's going on? Lu Chen hurriedly pulled his foot back. After a careful examination, Lu Chen discovered a terrifying thing. The spirit energy structure of the second step was different from that of the first step. Because of this, when he imitated the spirit energy released on the first step, it failed on the second step. Oh my god! I'm only going up the step. Lu Chen almost collapsed. He had no choice but to start studying the second step. However, worse was yet to come. In the process of studying, Lu Chen changed the way his spirit energy circulated, causing him to sink into the first step. Lu Chen looked at his deeply sunken feet and almost collapsed. No way, could it be that I have to quickly control my spirit energy and change the way my spirit energy circulates when I lift my foot? Only then can I walk up step by step? This is too difficult. The spirit energy supporting my foot and moving my foot has to be different and constantly changing. How much spirit energy do I have to control to achieve this? Returning to the starting point and looking at the mountain in front of him again, Lu Chen felt that this was probably the most difficult mountain to climb in the world. However, Lu Chen was not someone who gave up easily. The good news now was that Lu Chen had thoroughly figured out the method to climb the stone steps. As long as the method was correct, he could climb the mountain. I don't believe that I can't go up. Lu Chen cursed and stepped onto the first step. This time, after he lifted his left foot, he kept it suspended in the air for a long time. At the same time, he tried to change the spirit energy circulation on the left side of his body. After standing on one leg for half an hour, Lu Chen took the second step. This time, his left foot did not sink into the stone step. Very good, the third step. Lu Chen used his God-fiend heavenly eyes to quickly observe the spirit chi fluctuations on the third step. His left foot was on the ground and his right foot was raised. It's too difficult to form two types of spiritual energy in my body at the same time. Lu Chen gritted his teeth, but he didn't have any better ideas. He could only continue climbing step by step. Level 3 success. Lu Chen couldn't help but raise his head to take a look. He couldn't see the end of this stairway at all, as if it was leading to the horizon. He didn't know how far he could go in 5 days. I don't care anymore. I'll go as far as I can. Lu Chen collected his thoughts and focused on his feet. He began to climb the stone steps one by one. In the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace, I reported the results of the investigation of the Purple Mountain continent to Taihao. We've already found out that the purple pillar of light was emitted from the star-sky fantasy realm. We can't find out the details for the time being. We can only confirm that the star phenomenon was very strong at that time, and Purple Night Prince wasn't in the star-sky fantasy realm at that time. Taihao narrowed his eyes slightly. No matter what it is, it's very terrifying to be able to cause a star phenomenon. And this time, the star phenomenon came from the star-sky fantasy realm. If Purple Night Prince wasn't in the star-sky fantasy realm at that time, that means it's Dark Eclipse Geo. Dark Eclipse Geo, what great opportunity did you get? Taihao frowned. Don't tell me, you've collected the Dark Eclipse Chaos set. Among the opportunities of the Dark Eclipse, collecting the full set was obviously one of the greatest opportunities. Once the Dark Eclipse Chaos set was collected, it could indeed cause a star phenomenon. Unfortunately, there was no conclusion, so Taihao could only guess. Is there any movement at the Heavenly Music Pavilion? Taihao asked. Palace Lord, the Heavenly Music Pavilion is currently on guard, waiting for the Heavenly Music Old Ghost to appear. Due to the tight security, we can't get more information. Taihao nodded. Palace Lord, apart from the Heavenly Music Pavilion, the Immortal Form Sect, Ghost Valley Sect, Sword Shake Mountain, and 5 Poison Machine Mountains seem to be moving. Those old guys seem to be restless. In addition, the Dark Tribe has found the figures of some hidden experts. Taihao took a deep breath. I've sent people to investigate other places. I'm guessing that these super experts who are about to transcend tribulation must have sensed something. Ever since Dark Eclipse Geo came to the 6th heaven, these things have happened one after another. It's really suffocating. After the subordinate left, Tian Xing walked out from behind Taihao. Seeing his daughter's worried face, Taihao's heart ached. Now that she knew about the star phenomenon, this girl should be even more worried. Father, what terrifying thing Lu Chen is going to face this time? Lowered her eyes and sighed. I'm just afraid that Nameless won't have the heart to kill him. He said he wants to save Geo, so he won't kill Dark Eclipse. But Dark Eclipse won't show mercy. Taihao sighed. As the master of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, Taihao often put himself in the other party's shoes to think about problems. This was helpful for him to predict the other party's next move. However, when he stood in Lu Chen's shoes and faced the current problem, he couldn't find the best way to deal with it. At this time, probably no one wanted to be Lu Chen. No one was willing to face what he was going to face next. The only chance now is to see what kind of opportunity that kid can obtain in the Immortal Emperor Mountain realm, said Taihao. If he can comprehend the Tao realm, we can still fight. Father, since the establishment of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, countless geniuses have entered the mountain realm. Only the Ancestral Master has comprehended the Tao realm. Moreover, the past of the Immortal Palace also mentioned that the Ancestral Master had already peeked into the Tao realm before entering the mountain realm. Xer shook her head and said, Taihao naturally knew about this. It seemed that although his daughter was worried about Lu Chen, she still had reason. She couldn't be so perfunctory. Tai Hao took his daughter's hand and said earnestly, Lu Chen can come all the way. To be honest, I never thought that a mortal without any background could come this far by himself. He must have created countless miracles. At this time, all of our worries are useless. If he wants to solve this problem, he can only rely on himself. Either he continues to defy the heavens or he falls. This is something we can't control. Tai Hao looked at his daughter with tears in her eyes and said gently, I know you want me to send someone to help him. But you also know that the old devil Tianyin is about to come out. At that time, the 6 heavens will be stirred and the hidden experts will appear one after another. As the master of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, I must protect this 10,000 years of foundation. Otherwise, how can I face my master? How can I face the ancestral master? How can I face the 100,000 disciples of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace? Tian Xer's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at her father with heartache. Although she was worried about Lu Chen, she was also worried about her father. Lu Chen had to face Dark Shurjiao, and what her father had to face next was an unimaginable change. Father, Xer knows. Xer shouldn't have forced you. Tai Hao patted Xer's head. If Dark Shurjiao gathers the Dark Corrosion chaotic set, then this matter will become more complicated. No matter how the situation develops, let's first watch the fated battle between Dark Corrosion chaotic set and Celestial Demon against the heavens. Chapter 1138. The atmosphere of the 6th heaven, which had just been peaceful for a while, began to feel a little strange. It was rumored that a peak 9-star King Realm expert had appeared in a certain continent. It was also rumored that a mysterious person had visited a certain academy. Someone recognized him as a former super genius of the academy. They thought he had passed his tribulation, but he had returned. At Fenglai Academy, the dean and vice dean were anxiously waiting for something at the entrance. Not long after, an elegant woman stood in front of Fenglai Academy's entrance. Seeing this woman, Li Wei and Yao He rushed over. Sister Qingli. The woman looked at Li Wei and Yao He and nodded indifferently. Her indifference was in sharp contrast to Li Wei and Yao He's enthusiasm. Since you're all here, I'll stay at Fenglai for the time being. With that, she left the two behind and walked towards Fenglai Academy. She even pretended not to hear the dean call her martial aunt. Li Wei and Yao He exchanged glances and couldn't help but sigh. Sister Li Wei, Sister Qingli is about to pass her tribulation. She's already tried her best to cut off her worldly emotions. She doesn't even feel anything when she sees us. Li Wei sighed. I still remember when we were young, she took care of us and raised us. But now, I really don't know if cultivating is a good thing or not. Yao He's expression was lonely, but she quickly raised her head. Sister Qingli said that if anyone dares to touch Fenglai, we should inform her. I think she still misses us. Li Wei shook her head. Maybe that's just the thoughts of the strong. If anyone touches Fenglai, it's disrespectful to her. It might not be because of old feelings. Sister Qingli had returned. This might be the last time the 3 sisters would be reunited. However, Qingli didn't seem to recognize Li Wei and Yao He. At the same time, at Fenglai Academy, the Black Armor King had already purchased 7 inns near the Immortal Corpse Mound. He was leading people to expand his business. He was so busy that no one could see him. Because it was a rush job, the Black Armor King offered a high salary. But unexpectedly, Yi Fan didn't go to the Immortal Corpse Mound. He stayed in the meditation pavilion all day long. Xiao Zhan and Chu Tian had gone to see him twice. That fellow was sitting there by himself, completely immersed in cultivation. Xiao Zhan said to Chu Tian, Senior brother, Yi Fan wouldn't take things too hard, right? After all, the grudge between the Violet Sky Palace and the college chief was caused by him. Chu Tian shook his head and said, You can't say that. I heard that the woman who came to challenge us last time is acquainted with the principal. She wants to kill the principal. He just happened to be used by the Purple Sky Palace. Don't worry, junior brother Yi Fan isn't that weak. I feel that he wants to become stronger faster. I haven't seen him train so hard in a long time. Then we have to work harder. When the time comes, I'll accompany Yi Fan to kill our way to the Purple Heavenly Palace. Xiao Zhan said. Chu Tian curled his lips. You're shouting so loudly, what were you doing earlier? Right now the meditation pavilion and the teaching pavilion are filled with people. When those junior brothers and junior sisters heard about the emergence of experts recently, they seemed to be very excited and began to cultivate crazily. Xiao Zhan narrowed his eyes slightly. The more experts there are, the better. That way, I can start to get serious. Senior brother, let's go and call Yi Fan, Wu Xian, and Skyfall. They're all cultivating. Let's not disturb them. No, what's so good about cultivating in the meditation pavilion? I'll take you to a good place. After saying that, Xiao Zhan pulled Chu Tian and Yi Fan out and went to find Wu Xian and Skyfall. Hey, I have a cultivation space here. I'm usually reluctant to use it, but this time, I'll take you with me. Xiao Zhan said mysteriously, as long as you have the ability, it's not difficult to get the reality extraction scroll. But each person has to pay 1 million spiritual stones. There's such a good place? Okay, wait here. I'll go and get the money. I'll go too. Suddenly, only Xiao Zhan and Yi Fan were left. Xiao Zhan looked at Yi Fan in surprise. Junior brother, don't tell me you have 1 million spiritual stones on you? Senior brother, do I look like a rich person to you? No. Then that's it. 2 days ago, I borrowed another 2 million spiritual stones from senior brother Xianjia. Recently, I've been needing a lot of materials for cultivation. No wait, let me tell you, even blood brothers have clear accounts. Don't think of using my cultivation space for free. This thing needs money to recharge. Senior brother, how can I use it for free? Why don't you lend me 1 million spiritual stones? Can we count it as a loan? Yi Fan said seriously, you can't just leave me alone. This? Yi Fan, I'm even doubting if you can repay senior brother Xianjia's debt. Yi Fan sighed, AI, as expected, brothers are all lies. The relationship between you and me can't even compare to a mere 1 million spiritual stones. Senior brother, thank you for asking me to come, but I really can't take out so much money. I'm going back to the meditation pavilion. Xiao Zhan was so angry that he grimaced. This guy was clearly saying that he was heartless and even made him look like a victim. All right, stop it. Xiao Zhan called out to Yi Fan. All right, I'll lend it to you. Tell me, as the strongest disciple of the divine demon sect, how can you be so poor? Yi Fan immediately turned around with a smile on his face. Hee, I knew junior brother Xiao was the best. Xiao Zhan shook his head helplessly. AI, when the dean comes back, you should learn how to manage money from him. At the mention of the dean, Yi Fan couldn't help but stop smiling. I wonder how the dean is doing now. Yeah, I feel that the sudden appearance of so many super strong people might have something to do with the dean and the Purple Heaven Palace's agreement in 7 days. I'm really worried about him this time. The dean has been at the Imperial Heaven Palace for 3 days. I wonder if he's gained anything. Lu Chen had been in the mountain realm for 3 whole days. Other than the first day when he was unconscious, he hadn't slept or rested for the past 2 days. He had been trying to see how to climb the steps. Each step was different. Lu Chen had to constantly change the way his spiritual power worked. At first, Lu Chen needed half an hour to climb 1 step. Then, it took him 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and now, Lu Chen could rapidly change the way his spiritual energy circulates in his body within 3 minutes, and step onto a stair in 3 minutes. However, after walking for 3 days, there were still countless steps in front of him. There were only 2 days left. Lu Chen still didn't know what was at the top of the mountain. Even if there were any opportunities, he might still need to comprehend them. He didn't know how long it would take. However, Lu Chen suppressed the anxiety in his heart and focused on sensing the spiritual power. There were no shortcuts here. He had to practice tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of times to increase his speed. With Lu Chen's state of mind, Lu Chen's speed continued to increase. 20 steps in an hour, 30 steps in an hour, 50 steps in an hour. Half a day later, Lu Chen took a short break. I can now see the spiritual power working in the steps at a glance. I can adjust my spiritual power in about a minute. It's many times stronger than when I first started. It feels like success is coming naturally. Damn it, Gio is frantically leveling up in the celestial fantasy realm, and I'm frantically climbing levels here. Forget it, I don't care. I'll continue to increase my speed. Chapter 1139. On the 5th day of entering the immortal Emperor Sumeru realm, Lu Chen's climbing speed had reached 1 step per second. He could see through the characteristics of the spirit energy of the stone steps and quickly change the spirit energy circulation of one of his feet. All of this was done in a second. However, Lu Chen was not satisfied with his current speed. He was still practicing. After reaching this level, Lu Chen's improvement speed was faster than before. From 1 step per second to 2 steps per second, 3 steps per second. 4 days and 20 hours after entering the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace, Lu Chen finally saw the end of the stairway. Am I finally there? Lu Chen increased his speed and rushed up in one breath. When he stood at the peak of the mountain, Lu Chen looked down. The stairway he had walked was so long that he could not see the end. I actually made it. Then, Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. There were only 4 hours until he left the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace. And in these few days, the only thing he had done was to climb this 10,000-meter stairway. Although his control of spirit energy was many times stronger than before, could he defeat Jiu at this level? Lu Chen did not care so much and turned to look at the top of the mountain. In front of him, there was a stone tablet. Lu Chen walked over to take a look. 10,000 tribulations to Mount Sumeru, watching the wind and clouds rise. Is this really Mount Sumeru? Lu Chen was a little surprised. Didn't Taihao say that everyone's fortuitous encounters in the Sumeru realm were different? Who knew that he would actually arrive at Mount Sumeru, which was the most compatible with the Sumeru realm? Watching the wind and clouds rise? Lu Chen smiled and looked down the mountain. Standing at the top of the mountain, he could see clouds and mist lingering in the middle of the mountain. It was as if he was above a sea of clouds. Lu Chen suddenly felt comfortable and refreshed. Although I didn't get any opportunities, seeing this beautiful scenery is not a waste of a trip to Mount Sumeru. Lu Chen smiled. At this moment, he forgot all his troubles and only wanted to enjoy the majestic scenery in front of him. Lu Chen, suddenly, a voice came from behind him. Lu Chen quickly turned around. The top of the mountain wasn't very big. It was just a small piece of flat land. When he first arrived here, he didn't see anything. How could there be anyone in this place? After turning around, Lu Chen did not see anyone. But that voice did not disappear. Congratulations on conquering the king of the mountains. Lu Chen frowned. Who are you? Ah, don't be nervous. I am Mount Meru beneath your feet. The deep voice laughed. Mount Meru. Lu Chen was a little surprised. The one speaking to him was actually the consciousness of Mount Meru? If it really was the consciousness of Mount Meru, Lu Chen had some questions that he wanted to ask it. Senior Taihao told me that everyone has different fortuitous encounters here. Why didn't I have any fortuitous encounters? Do you have any treasures here? Haha, I don't know this Senior Taihao you speak of, but the immortal Emperor Meru realm does vary from person to person. The consciousness of Mount Meru said, some people have obtained immortal techniques here, some have obtained ancient battle pets, some have improved their combat strength, and some have comprehended the intent realm. But didn't he tell you that there are also people who returned empty-handed? Lu Chen shook his head with a bitter smile. He didn't say, but I know now. He was the one who returned empty-handed. But then, Lu Chen smiled in relief. Actually, I didn't return empty-handed. I'm quite adept at spirit chi refinement. Although I can improve this through practice in the outside world, at least I've improved a lot. Besides, Lu Chen turned around and looked at a sea of clouds in the distance. I didn't come here in vain to see such a scenery. Ha, I didn't expect you to be such an open-minded person. The consciousness of Mount Meru laughed. Suddenly, Lu Chen saw an old man in white standing next to him. He had the demeanor of a transcendent being. He stood side by side with him with his hands behind his back, looking at the scenery in front of them. Lu Chen wasn't too shocked this time. The old man might be an illusion of Mount Meru. In short, it was fine as long as he didn't have any evil intentions. It was unavoidably lonely at the peak, so it was good to have someone to accompany him. "This journey must be very difficult," the old man said faintly as he looked into the distance. Although it was just a simple sentence, it made Lu Chen's heart tremble. He even felt a little choked up in his throat. The Jiutian path had never been easy for him. Lu Chen took a deep breath and smiled. "It's all right." The old man smiled and looked at Lu Chen. "I'm talking about climbing the mountain." Lu Chen froze for a moment. It seemed that he was overthinking. "I've been watching you climb the mountain. There are a total of 810,000 steps, but you didn't cross any of them." Lu Chen almost spat out blood. He could take 2 steps in 1 step? He was a person who liked to look for bugs the most, but he actually forgot about this. "I was too focused on controlling my spirit chi and forgot." The old man laughed. "Haha, I didn't expect you to be such an interesting person. However, in my opinion, it wasn't that you forgot, but that you didn't think about it. You thirsted to improve your strength in any environment. You didn't let go of any opportunity to become stronger, so you didn't think about how to reach the peak quickly." The old man stopped smiling. Lu Chen didn't deny this point. At that time, he really did want to improve his perception and control of spirit chi. Your spiritual energy refinement was originally not perfect, but with the help of the divine demon's heavenly eyes, you have finally stepped on the right track. After another 810,000 times of practice, Lu Chen, your spiritual energy refinement has reached the peak of perfection in the first level. Lu Chen frowned. "It's still only the first level? There's no qualitative change." "Senior, how many levels are there in spirit chi refinement?" Lu Chen asked again. 3 levels, Sumi said. "The first level is spirit chi refinement. Observe spirit chi refinement. The second level is spirit chi. Observe spirit chi refinement. The third level is spirit chi refinement. Observe spirit chi refinement. Of course, there should be a 4th level, but that's no longer within the scope of spirit chi refinement. Spirit chi refinement isn't the ordinary Tao realm, but the Tao realm." Lu Chen frowned. Was the Tao realm of spirit chi refinement that difficult? Lu Chen shook his head. It seemed that he wouldn't be able to reach the Tao realm this time. The old man smiled and didn't continue the topic. He suddenly said, "Lu Chen, now that you're standing at the peak, let me ask you. If there's another mountain in front of you, will you continue to climb?" Lu Chen didn't even think about it and said, "Yes." "What if there's no end to Mount Meru?" Lu Chen was surprised. "No end? I don't believe it. As long as I keep going, I'll reach the peak." The old man nodded. "As expected, you're also someone who doesn't like to rest in the middle. All right, then I'll tell you. You're now standing at the foot of Mount Meru." The old man said and waved his hand. For a moment, heaven and earth shook. Lu Chen hurriedly looked back. Behind him, the clouds dispersed, and an incomparably huge mountain appeared in front of him. The mountain shot straight into the sky. Even without the clouds, he still couldn't see the end. It was as if it went straight into the sky, like a god. The peak he was at was not even the tip of the iceberg in front of this huge mountain. It was so small that it could be ignored. "This is the real Mount Meru." The old man smiled. "Actually, this is your opportunity. It's up to you to grasp it." Chapter 1140. There should be something you want above the peak of Sumeru. In the last 4 hours, I will remove the restriction on your movement. As for whether you can reach the peak, it will depend on your own strength. Finishing speaking, Sumi disappeared in front of Lu Chen. Lu Chen's eyes widened. It turned out that in the last 4 hours before leaving the immortal emperor's Sumeru realm, his opportunity would truly appear. Without a doubt, now was the time to race against time. Lu Chen didn't have time to say goodbye to Sumi. With a rapid movement, he rushed to the front of Sumeru Mountain. The stone steps here would also sink, and the way of releasing spiritual energy was different on each step. However, after 810,000 times of practice, Lu Chen had already cultivated spiritual energy to the peak of perfection. Climbing the stairway to heaven now was truly a matter of course. Godly demon symbiosis. War god possession. Demon transformation. 3 lives reincarnation. Godly demon astral body. Lu Chen's figure climbed up at a speed so fast it was a blur. This time, he didn't need to walk step by step. His figure was like a black mist, madly climbing up. Just after Lu Chen left, Sumi reappeared. Looking at Lu Chen's back, he smiled faintly. Lu Chen, you might not know, but after so many years, you are the first person to have the opportunity to take on this challenge. 810,000 steps. Without crossing a single step, your desire to become stronger in your heart is stronger than anyone else's. This is also the root of why you have been able to walk until today. Now, Lu Chen was rapidly climbing. As he lifted his foot and landed, he could already quickly switch the circulation of spiritual energy in his body. Sumer Mountain. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. Step by step, in Lu Chen's eyes, the spiritual energy was exceptionally clear. 9 steps in the void. 7 stars chasing the moon. With only 4 hours left, he stood at the peak where he couldn't see the peak. There was no rest, not even a moment to breathe. Moreover, he couldn't make even a single mistake. If before was to hone his endurance and patience, then now was the ultimate test that combined all his comprehension, all his energy, and physical strength. 1 hour, no end in sight. 2 hours, no end in sight. 3 hours, no end in sight. Last half an hour. Soul and body as one. Heavenly might of the gods and devils. The heavenly might of gods and demons was in a weakened state. As for soul body as one, it would take 3 days to recover for 10 minutes. Based on the current time, he would not be able to use soul body as one in the final battle of the immortal corpse tomb. But Lu Chen couldn't care less now. Lu Chen's speed suddenly increased. Every time he landed on the ground, he only needed to tap the ground and continue shooting upward. The time he used to do so was only a fraction of a second. In the last 10 minutes, Lu Chen was already hundreds of thousands of meters high. It was hard to imagine that a mountain could be hundreds of thousands of meters tall. The road ahead was still an endless staircase, but Lu Chen did not give up. He was still madly exerting his strength. In the sky above the clouds, Shumi Old Man had been watching every step of Lu Chen's climb. If you don't make a single mistake, then this is the benefit of 810,000 practice sessions. The seamless connection of skills is the experience of 100 battles. Then from start to finish, you never thought of giving up. This should be the result of your personality of never admitting defeat. Very good. Finally, someone can stand at the peak of Shumi and enjoy this magnificent scenery. Finished speaking, Shumi Old Man dissipated in the air. In the last 2 minutes, Lu Chen madly sprinted. And at this time, he finally saw the end of the hundreds of millions of steps. Am I almost there? Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. He erupted with the last of his strength and rushed to the peak of Shumi in a single breath. Just as he reached the peak of Shumi, Lu Chen directly fell on the last step. Fortunately, the spiritual energy here was very abundant, allowing Lu Chen to quickly recover. Lu Chen raised his head with great effort and stood up shakily. He looked down the mountain and was immediately shocked by the scene before his eyes. Below the mountain was not the earth of some world, but the endless starry sky. It can't be that I've exceeded the atmosphere, right? Lu Chen was somewhat astonished, but on second thought, that was not right. He had felt gravity all the way, so it was impossible that he had really reached outer space. On the rocky flat ground at the peak of the mountain, there was also a stone tablet erected. Lu Chen staggered over. King of Mountains, Shumi Peak. In front of the stone tablet, there was a scroll. Cultivation method? Lu Chen grabbed the cultivation method and opened it to check. Unfortunately, this thing was not a cultivation method at all. There were only 8 words written on it. Does Lord know the truth of spirit? Suddenly, the huge Shumi mountain under Lu Chen's feet suddenly dissipated. Lu Chen directly floated in the river of stars. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Wait, Could it be that Shumi Mountain did not exist at all? This so-called king of mountains was just a manifestation of spiritual energy? Lu Chen's current shock could not be any greater. Just by relying on spiritual energy, he could create such a terrifying mountain. Could this be the truth of spirit? It turned out that the opportunity he had been looking for had always been under his feet, but he had not noticed it. Lu Chen, your time is up. The voice sounded again. Everything has spiritual energy. The Tao realm of spiritual energy involves the origin, and its power far surpasses that of ordinary Tao realm. Although you have only comprehended the second level of intent, you are definitely not inferior to ordinary Tao realm cultivators. Your fated battle is about to begin. Senior Shumi, Before Lu Chen could speak, he felt the world spin. When he opened his eyes again, he was already standing outside the small rundown house in the Celestial Emperor's Shumi realm. Nameless. Lu Chen had just come out when he found that Tai Hao and Tian Xen were waiting for him. Lu Chen, did you get any opportunities in the Celestial Emperor's Shumi realm? Tian Xen asked anxiously. Lu Chen's mind was still stuck, and he could not answer immediately. Tian Xen was even more anxious. During this period of time, the sixth heaven was completely different from 7 days ago. There were many hidden experts. Jiao had been cultivating for 7 months, and with the Purple Mountain Continent's star phenomenon, her strength was difficult to estimate. The Celestial Emperor's Shumi realm was Lu Chen's only chance. However, at first glance, Lu Chen did not seem to have changed much. Instead, his entire person was in a daze, and he did not seem to be in high spirits at all. How could Tian Xen not be anxious? Lu Chen, what happened? Tian Xen asked anxiously. What happened to you in the Shumi realm? Lu Chen said in a daze. I encountered it, but I don't think I encountered it. I have been climbing a mountain. The group almost vomited blood when they heard this. What the hell did he mean by climbing a mountain? Why climb a mountain in front of a great enemy? Tian Xen's face was full of anxiety, but Tai Hao stopped her. He looked at Lu Chen. Nameless, I see that you are not in a good state. You didn't use the dual heavenly might of gods and demons, did you? Lu Chen took a deep breath. I used it, but there is still half a day before the 7-day agreement. I can recover. However, I also used soul body as one. It seems that I can only fight Jiao with my true body. What? This? Tai Hao and Tian Xen were shocked. He did not use soul body as one in the battle with Jiao? How could he fight? Chapter 1141. Lu Chen knew that they still had a lot of questions, but there was only half a day left before the 7 days deadline. It would take some time to go to the Immortal Master Tomb, so he had to leave now. Seeing that Lu Chen was about to leave, Tian Xen grabbed Lu Chen's arm. Lu Chen looked back at her in surprise. Lu Chen, don't go. Tian Xen's eyes reddened. Would he be able to come back if he went? Lu Chen smiled. I can't not go. Then, Lu Chen looked at the small hand that was holding him tightly. Tai Hao hugged Tian Xen. He knew that his daughter was too worried about Lu Chen. Tian Xen's eyes were filled with tears. She knew that with Lu Chen's personality, he would definitely go back, but, finally, Tian Xen let go. Lu Chen, you have to live. Lu Chen smiled. I'll do my best. Senior Tai Hao, thank you so much. If I can solve Jiao's problem, I'll come again to thank you. Senior Tai Hao, please send me back to Xingyuan continent now. After Lu Chen left, Tian Xen looked at the empty teleportation gate and cried. Tai Hao walked over. Xen, do you want to go and see? I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Tian Xen couldn't bear it. After all, Lu Chen hadn't merged his soul and body, and he hadn't obtained any treasures in the immortal Emperor Meru realm. He had no chance of winning against Jiao, but even so, she still wanted to go and see. Father, I want to go. Tian Xen said stubbornly. Tai Hao nodded. Okay, I'll take you there. Zhongxian go, Lu Chen walked out of the teleportation gate. Ma Bei and the others were already waiting. Nameless, you're back. Seeing Lu Chen appear, Ma Bei immediately went to greet him. How was it? Did the immortal emperor obtain any treasures in the Meru realm? Lu Chen shook his head. No, there's no time to talk about it. I have to go to the immortal master tomb. With that, Lu Chen jumped off the immortal island. Hey Nameless, wait for us. Mabe chased to the edge of the immortal trail mountain and saw Lu Chen's falling figure. Suddenly, a huge black dragon caught the rapidly falling Lu Chen and flew towards the immortal corpse mound. 10 wings. He advanced to 9 wings so quickly. He didn't even wait for us. After Mabe finished speaking, he ordered, "Let's go, it's about time. We have to go to the immortal corpse tomb." However, when the disciple summoned his mount, the 100-meter-long soaring serpent lay on the ground and refused to take off. "Mabe, immortal king, my mount won't fly." The disciple was a little anxious. Everyone was waiting for his mount, but something had happened. Mabe thought for a while and suddenly thought of something. He hurriedly tried to find Lu Chen's figure. However, 10 wings had only appeared for a moment when he caught Lu Chen. Now, he was nowhere to be seen. No way, it's the supreme of mounts? Mabe was speechless. This guy had used a mount, but no one else could. That was too overbearing. Forget it, let's wait for a while. When Nameless is far away, the soaring serpent should be able to fly, Mabe said helplessly. At that moment, Lu Chen was still in a weakened state. However, after obtaining the heavenly eyes of the celestial demons, he only had 3 hours left in his weakened state. He could completely recover. There was still a long way to go to the immortal master tomb, so Lu Chen was not in a hurry. He patted 10 Wings' head. 10 Wings, you don't have to go too fast. Just get there within the agreed time. I need to comprehend what I learned in the mountain realm. Although 10 Wings had a bad temper, he always obeyed Lu Chen's words. He immediately slowed down. Lu Chen sat cross-legged and began to recall everything he had experienced in the mountain realm. It was not until the last moment that Lu Chen realized that Mount Meru was not a real mountain, so he needed to feel it again from the beginning. Lu Chen had already entered the state of an Ada. 10 Wings continued to fly southwest with Lu Chen. There were more living people than dead people in the immortal corpse tomb today. There was already a sea of people here. The deans, mentors, and disciples of the major academies were all waiting here. The same was true for the Fenglai Academy. However, even the Dean, 100 Flowers, and the Vice Deans, Li Wei and Yao He, had to stand behind an extremely beautiful woman. That woman was extremely beautiful and impeccable. Her temperament was elegant and calm. When she was around, even Li Wei and Yao He paled in comparison. She was calm and composed. Her eyes were so clear that they did not contain a trace of impurity. However, it made people feel intimidated. There were no emotional fluctuations in those eyes. There was no reluctance or concern. At that moment, a man from the elf clan walked up to her. "I didn't expect you to come too, Qingli." The man's tone was calm. "Wuchang, you're here. Why can't I come?" Qingli did not look at the man. She just said coldly. The man snorted. "The dark corrosion chaos set has been gathered. The stardust phenomenon has appeared. It seems that many people want to see the power of the legendary master devouring divine artifact." In addition, it said that Nameless has gathered 6 pieces of the life-reversing divine demon set. Wu Chang smiled. Dark corrosion can find the set parts by feeling. In fact, it's not too difficult for dark corrosion to gather the dark corrosion chaos set. As for the life-reversing divine demon, I've never heard of anyone who could gather more than 3 pieces. It's just that 6 pieces of the life-reversing divine demon set is not as strong as the entire dark corrosion chaos set. In short, the battle between these 2 sets is really interesting. Qingli snorted. "Enough, don't talk to me about this. You and I both know that we came out for more than these 2 sets." Wu Chang sneered. "You misunderstood. I don't intend to hide anything. I'm just chatting with you." "Sorry, I'm not in the mood to chat with you." Qingli was not polite at all. Wu Chang shrugged. "It's been a few hundred years. You haven't changed at all. You have the looks of a fairy, but you're just an iceberg. Forget it, forget it. I'll find someone else to chat with." Li Wei and Yao He looked at each other. Their sister was a super powerhouse. Why did they come out in full force this time? Since Qingli was already on the same path as them, they tried to ask her several times, but they were all shut out. It couldn't be helped. Ever since their sister was preparing for her tribulation, her feelings for them had become fainter and fainter. Perhaps in Qingli's eyes, other than knowing their names, they were not much different from other strangers. There were many people like Qingli and Wu Chang in the crowd. These people were all legendary figures. At this moment, they all appeared and gathered here. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There was only half an hour left before the appointed time. A torch dragon flew across the sky with a purple candle in its mouth. Wherever it passed, the world was filled with purple light. It's the Purple Sky Palace. The crowd suddenly became restless. Dark Corrosion Jiao, really collected the entire Dark Corrosion Chaos set? It's unbelievable. To be able to collect a full set of this level in the 6th heaven is simply unheard of. I wonder how strong she is. This time, we can finally know what the Star Vision is all about. Almost all the members of the Demonic Academy were present. At this moment, Yi Fan looked at the torch dragon in the sky and clenched his fists tightly. His enemy was on that torch dragon. However, at this moment, Yi Fan had to temporarily put down his hatred because he was more worried about the safety of another person. Dean. Chapter 1142. Two people jumped down from the torch dragon. One of them was wearing a purple robe and a golden crown. He was burly. It was Purple Knight Tianzi. The other was a human. She wore a purple robe with silver patterns. Her beautiful face carried an evil aura. Dark Shurjiu is different from before. A sea of clouds noticed at a glance and said worriedly, in just 7 days, she has changed so much. The evil aura on her is dozens of times stronger than before. That in Shurjiu should be a 6-star or 7-star human king now, right? Just looking at her now makes me feel a little nervous, said Etienne. 6 or 7-star. I'm afraid she's already a 9-star. A sea of clouds said, the feeling she gives off now is too different from the first time I saw her. I think the rumors might be true. She really has obtained the Dark Erosion Chaotic set. Purple Knight Tianzi walked to the front of the School of Gods and Demons and glanced at the crowd. Finally, his eyes fell on Yi Fan. Yi Fan, we meet again. But this time, no one can protect you. Yi Fan looked at Purple Knight Tianzi coldly. He wanted to kill this guy. However, Yi Fan was calm. He knew that now was not the time to attack. Where's Nameless? Purple Knight Tianzi deliberately raised his voice. He's not here yet. Is he running away? Xiao Zhan could not help but curse. Our dean is afraid of you? Stop dreaming. Purple Knight Tianzi smiled. I didn't say he's afraid of me. He's afraid of my Purple Sky Palace disciple, Jiao. With that, Purple Knight Tianzi looked at the woman behind him. Dark Shurjiu narrowed her eyes and said coldly, whether Nameless comes or not, I'll slaughter everyone in the School of Gods and Demons. How arrogant! A sea of clouds said coldly. You have no right to talk to me. Dark Shurjiu did not care about a sea of clouds at all. Hurry up and tell Nameless to come out. I can't wait to kill him. How dare you speak to my martial uncle of a sea of clouds like that? Xiao Zhan said angrily. Chu Tian stopped Xiao Zhan, who was about to make a move, and signaled him not to be impulsive. Don't you know the principal's character? I believe that he will definitely come. Xiao Zhan calmed down. If he got angry now, it meant that he didn't trust the dean. However, Jiao was not someone to be trifled with. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. You're all about to die. I'm already thinking highly of you by talking to you. Purple Knight Emperor said loudly, I've already given Nameless 7 days, but he doesn't dare to show himself now. Tell Nameless to come out, or I'll kill your Demonic Academy's disciples one by one. Let's see if Nameless will come out. Just as the Purple Knight Emperor was shouting angrily, a white robe suddenly flashed in front of the people of the God Devil's sacred courtyard. Purple Knight Son of Heaven saw this person's movement skill and knew that this person was an expert. When he looked again, Purple Knight Son of Heaven could not help but be surprised. It was actually the master of the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace, Tai Hao. Tai Hao said calmly, "Purple Knight, there's still more than 10 minutes until the agreed time. Why are you in such a hurry? Or are you afraid of Nameless, so you want to make a move while he's not here?" Purple Knight Emperor snorted, "Tai Hao, you're quite free. You actually have time to care about the matters of the God Devil's sacred courtyard. Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble by helping them like this?" Tai Hao calmly said, "You don't have to worry about my matters. However, you're wrong about one thing. I just happened to hear about your 7-day agreement. Since you've already agreed on the time, if you want to make a move ahead of time, not only me, I'm afraid others will think that you're not keeping your word." Many people around began to discuss. That's right. It's not even time to kill. The Purple Sky Palace is indeed too overbearing. Since we've already agreed on the time of the battle, then follow the time. Otherwise, you're not keeping your word. Even Tai Hao spoke up for the God Devil's sacred courtyard, and what he said was the truth. For a moment, everyone present was condemning the Purple Sky Palace. Purple Knight Emperor narrowed his eyes slightly. In terms of influence, his Purple Sky Palace was definitely not comparable to the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. If Tai Hao stood up, others would easily follow suit. There were many super experts present. If this continued, it would be disadvantageous for him. He didn't want to establish an image of someone who didn't keep his word. After thinking about it, Purple Knight Emperor snorted coldly, "I was just trying to force Nameless out. I naturally won't break the agreed time. Isn't it just a quarter of an hour? All right, we've already waited for 7 days. We don't mind waiting for him for another 15 minutes. Purple Knight found a way out for himself and didn't continue to make things difficult for the God Devil's sacred courtyard. Returning to the Torch Dragon, Purple Knight Emperor was furious. He stared at Tai Hao and said through gritted teeth, "Tai Hao, don't look at how arrogant you are now. In the future, I'll make you kneel down and beg for mercy." Purple Knight and the others returned to the Torch Dragon. A sea of clouds, Etion cupped his fists and said to Tai Hao, "Thank you, Senior Tai Hao." Tai Hao smiled slightly, "It's just a small matter. I'm afraid my Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace won't be able to interfere in the future." A sea of clouds nodded. It was already rare for others to speak up for them. He couldn't expect the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace to risk their lives for the God Devil's sacred courtyard. After all, their relationship wasn't that close. "Senior Tai Hao, didn't the Dean come with you?" A sea of clouds said. Tai Hao shook his head, "He left before us. He was triggered by the Zhongxingu. He was also on a different path from us. I don't know why he hasn't arrived yet. But Ma Bei and the others are all here." Etion said doubtfully. He walked over to the Zhongxingu and asked. The news he received was that Nameless had left before them. He didn't know why he hadn't arrived yet. That's strange. Has no one seen John Doe along the way? Just when everyone was confused about the situation. In the sky, the huge Torch Dragon suddenly descended rapidly and stopped in the cemetery. What's going on with the Purple Heaven Palace? A sea of clouds looked in that direction in surprise. He saw the Torch Dragon lowering its head to the ground. No matter how its master ordered it, it refused to take off. When Ma Bei saw this scene, he suddenly felt that it was somewhat familiar. After thinking carefully, he slapped his forehead. "I know. Ma Bei, Immortal King, what's going on?" Ma Bei raised his head and looked above the clouds. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Nameless is here." In the sky, a black shadow blocked the sunlight. Everyone looked up and saw a huge dragon circling in the sky. On the dragon's head, a man in a black robe with golden patterns stood on the dragon's head. When Li Wei saw that man, her heart was in a mess. That was Lu Chen's strongest mount in the 6th heaven, the 10-winged sky dragon. Even if the Torch Dragon saw it, it wouldn't dare to fly in front of a king. Qingli narrowed her eyes slightly. 10 wings? How did this guy get it? Li Wei, Yao He, the man on the dragon's head is nameless? Li Wei was just about to speak when she heard Yao He's reply. "Sister, who else would be so arrogant other than him? That's right, he's Lu Qin, also nameless, also solipsistic. Chapter 1143. With a furious roar, Ten-Winged actually roared at Torch Dragon, causing it to tremble in fear. Everyone found it even harder to imagine. The battle between Nameless and Purple Sky Palace had yet to begin, but Ten-Winged had already suppressed Torch Dragon to the point that it could not even lift its head. Purple Night Emperor was so angry that his entire body trembled. "Damn it, beast, how dare you show weakness to the enemy?" With that, he directly cut off Torch Dragon's head. One had to admit that Purple Night Emperor was also a ruthless person. Mounts were generally not used as battle pets, so the strength of a mount was directly determined by its bloodline. Torch Dragon did not want to show weakness, but in front of Ten-Winged, it was still inferior. Whether it was 9-winged or 10-winged, there were many mounts that submitted. This was the first mount that was directly killed because of this. A purple-robed envoy behind Purple Knight felt his heart ache. The palace master was angry and killed his own mount. "You don't feel bad, do you?" Torch Dragon was already very difficult to deal with. Of course, he only dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. On Ten-Winged Sky Dragon, Lu Chen patted Ten-Winged's head. "Ten-Winged, we're here. I'm going down." With that, Lu Chen put away Ten-Winged, opened his blood demon skeletal wings, and flew to the Demonic Academy's camp. Nameless. Dad. Lu Chen looked at these family and friends and smiled slightly. "Sorry to have made you worry. I wanted to meditate on the way and delayed some time." Since Lu Chen was here, everyone naturally did not care about this matter. "Nameless, have you seen Jiao? It feels like she's completely different from 7 days ago." "Dean, are you confident?" "Dad, I'll help you this time." Lu Chen patted the little beast's head. "No need, I'm enough." Tai Hao looked at Lu Chen in surprise. He had only been separated from Lu Chen for 12 hours. Why did it feel like Lu Chen had become a different person? When he had first come out of the Immortal Emperor's Meru realm, he had been in a daze. But now, the calm Lu Chen had returned. "Nameless, did you really not get any treasures in the Immortal Palace's mountain realm? Also, have you thought of a way to deal with Jiao? After all, you don't have soul-body fusion anymore." "What?" Everyone was shocked when they heard Tai Hao say that Lu Chen didn't fuse with his soul. Lu Chen looked at Tai Hao. "Senior Tai Hao, you're here too. It's true that I didn't obtain any treasures, but I did gain some insights. Let's talk about the specifics after this battle." Following this, Lu Chen looked at the others and smiled as he said, "Don't ask so many questions. I'm here to fight, not to answer questions." Tai Hao hurriedly said, "Okay, we were rude. Everyone, don't ask anymore. The war is imminent. Nameless needs to focus on the enemy." Everyone could only suppress their curiosity. As soon as Lu Chen turned around, he saw a sharp gaze passing through the crowd and landing directly on himself. He followed the gaze and felt a slight pain in his heart. This was no longer the girl who had sat on the cliff with him to admire the sunset. Now, Jiao's eyes were ferocious and filled with killing intent. The two of them walked toward the center of the open space at the same time. The two of them stood facing each other. Jiao's eyes were filled with killing intent, while Lu Chen's eyes were filled with gentleness. "Jiao," Lu Chen called out softly. "I'm not Jiao." Jiao said coldly. "I've completely taken over her consciousness." Lu Chen sighed. "It's my fault. I didn't stop you in time." "Stop me? Don't be naive. This is her own choice. For Taiwu planet, she chose to sacrifice herself and become fertilizer for me. She was willing to be devoured by me." "No, that wasn't her choice," Lu Chen said in a low voice. "Whether it's for Mu Xian or Jiao, I will kill you and save Jiao." "Kill me?" Jiao laughed. "Ha, I'm afraid you don't know what kind of terrifying existence you're facing right now. So what if you have the life reversal divinity? I'll still tear you to pieces. You seem to hate me even more than the first time we met." Lu Chen frowned. "There must be something that made you vent your anger on me. I'm guessing it must be because you couldn't completely erase Jiao's consciousness. That's why you're so angry." Nonsense. Jiu has disappeared. I'm Jiu? Jiu? Said angrily. Lu Chen smiled. It seems so. Otherwise, why would you be so angry now? Didn't I hit the nail on the head? Jiu? Suddenly realized she'd been tricked. If it was Lu Chen's guess before, then her performance had undoubtedly helped Lu Chen prove his conjecture. Jiu? Adjusted her emotions. If she was too angry, it would be disadvantageous for the upcoming battle. There were only a few minutes until noon. She needed to adjust her state. I heard you cultivated in the immortal Emperor Meru realm for 5 days? Unfortunately, compared to the astral illusory formation, you're far too weak. Jiu smiled. I defeated opponents stronger than you in the astral illusory formation and honed myself in actual combat. After 7 months of cultivation, I'm already a peak 9-star king. Not to mention the opportunities I've obtained. That's something you don't even dare to think about. Nameless, tell me, what right do you have to kill me? So powerful. Lu Chen nodded. Thinking of his own experience, he couldn't help but feel ashamed. Sigh, compared to you, I'm much worse. I had no opponent, no time to cultivate. I climbed the mountain for 5 days. Climbed the mountain for 5 days? Ha, Nameless, you can't be so naive as to think you can beat me by climbing the mountain, right? Lu Chen pursed his lips. Who knows? Behind Lu Chen, the god-fiend disciples were on the verge of collapse. Xiao Zhan couldn't care less about seniority. He tugged at Tai Hao's sleeve. Senior Tai Hao, is what the dean said true? He climbed the mountain for 5 days in the immortal Emperor Meru realm? Tai Hao sighed. When he first came out, he told me he had been climbing the mountain. He even used the god-fiend's heaven's might and soul body as one. He can't be lying to us. Chu Tian was speechless. His opponent had crazily increased his strength, and the dean had gone to another place to climb the mountain. Did the dean have some misunderstanding about closed-door cultivation? Yi Fan frowned. How could a normal mountain climb use the god-fiend's heaven's might and soul body as one? I think this is suspicious. Senior Tai Hao, could it be that climbing the mountain has a special effect in the immortal palace Meru realm? Yi Fan's words reminded Tai Hao, but he still shook his head. Everyone has different fortuitous encounters in the Meru realm. However, from the historical records of the Meru realm, no one has ever mentioned a fortuitous encounter like climbing a mountain. Your dean should be the only one who has experienced such a fortuitous encounter. Meru realm? Wu Xian thought for a moment, then suddenly had an epiphany. Doesn't Meru realm mean the king of mountains? His words woke everyone up from their daze. Only then did everyone react. Climbing a mountain? It would be fine if it was anywhere else, but in the Meru realm, if it was that mountain, didn't it mean that the dean had entered the most origin of the Meru realm? Thinking of this, everyone looked at the person on the field and suddenly realized that they had been fooled. That guy actually encountered the origin of the Meru realm? Damn it. I should have asked him if he had climbed to the top. Tai Hao said regretfully. However, there was no time to ask any more questions. It was already noon. Chapter 1144. Large dark clouds had already covered the scorching midday sun, and the sky was dark. Inside the immortal corpse mound, a cold wind howled, as if countless souls were secretly watching the upcoming battle. With a loud boom, a bolt of lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the land. Perhaps it was an illusion, but someone saw many afterimages in the sky, their silhouettes resembling human figures. Qing Li squinted her eyes. She had also noticed the afterimages in the sky. Could it be that the experts from beyond the heavens are also here to watch? She was not sure, but now was not the time to worry about this. The fated battle between the Dark Corrosion Chaotic set and the Fiend God Heaven Defying set, the battle between Jiu and the Solipsistic set, was about to begin. Jiu seemed to have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Lu Chen was right. She wanted to kill him even more than the first time she saw Lu Chen. Primordial heavenly sovereign body. Jiu roared, spiritual energy erupted from her body, and a giant god's afterimage appeared behind her. Dark Corrosion 9 souls. Around Jiu, a black, smoke-like shadow wrapped around her, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Dark corrosion mystical een. Jiu-er's form changed, her hair was twice as long as before, dark purple in color. Her eyes were suffused with purple mist, and a dark purple 9-star pattern appeared on her forehead. Lu Chen looked at Jiu-er's transformation indifferently, especially after seeing her use the dark corrosion mystical een, his brows furrowed. Dark corrosion mystical een was similar to the 9 transformations of Fiend God, but it relied on the mystical een dark body, and Jiu-er had the mystical een dark body. Because of this, she was chosen to raise dark corrosion. Jiu-er, why didn't you tell me earlier? Lu Chen sighed. Obviously, this battle was unavoidable. I will definitely save you. Lu Chen nodded, his eyes emitting green mist. Fiend God symbiosis. Lu Chen roared, his hair dyed white, and spiritual energy erupted. Snickered, Fiend God heaven-defying, I finally found you. Dark corrosion world annihilating wheel. Jiu-er slowly pulled out 2 crescent blades from the void. When the dark corrosion world annihilating wheel appeared, everyone's weapons began to vibrate, as if they sensed the arrival of an expert. Dark corrosion world annihilating wheel. I can't control my amber longbow. That's a real divine artifact. It said that it was born from the primordial chaos world. Heavens, Jiu-er laughed even more wildly. Where's your limitless Fiend God sword? Take it out. I've been waiting for this battle for thousands of years. I can't wait anymore. Jiu-er, Fiend God annihilating wheel, Naya Fiend. Of use annihilating of. Fiend God annihilation of Ling wheel? What kind of excuse was that? Not only did Jiu-er suffer internal injuries, but a sea of clouds, Yi Fan, and the others also vomited blood. Dean, can you not make such a joke at a time like this? Lu Chen remained unmoved. With a flick of his finger, a silver spear appeared in the void, hovering in front of Lu Chen. I will fight you with silver guts. Narrowed her eyes, purple mist rolling out of her eyes. How dare you look down on me? I will make you pay the price. Dark corrosion doppelganger. Jiu-er instantly split into 9. Doppelganger? Someone uses doppelganger in a battle between experts? Rong-er looked at Jiu-er in surprise. You should be able to see through it easily. No! Li Wei's eyes flashed with pink light, then widened. These 9 doppelganger are so strange. They are all illusions. There is no real body. What? Rong-er's face was full of disbelief. How can there be no real body? Li Wei frowned. I don't know, now we can only see how Nameless will deal with it. Lu Chen also frowned slightly. Every doppelganger of the dark corrosion doppelganger had unique characteristics, somewhat similar to the Buddha doppelganger, but the Buddha doppelganger was the real body, while the dark corrosion doppelganger was all doppelganger. The real body disappeared? How could he fight then? He could only be beaten. This is the dark corrosion chaotic set skill? Interesting. Lu Chen snorted. At this moment, the 9 doppelganger quickly surrounded Lu Chen. The dark corrosion ghostly steps. A doppelganger flashed and moved, shooting toward Lu Chen. So fast. A sea of clouds' eyes widened. It's faster than King of Hell. Not good, Dindish. Dark corrosion apocalypse, sea-splitting sky. Lu Chen tried to dodge, but found that the surrounding space had been locked, and a spiritual energy wall restricted his movement. While attacking, it restricted the opponent's movement. It seemed that the dark corrosion chaotic set was indeed extraordinary. However, Lu Chen was different from before. After merging with the celestial demon's heavenly eyes, he could already see Jiu-er's figure. Facing this sea-splitting sky, Lu Chen was ready to face it head-on. But at this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt a spiritual energy fluctuation behind him. No, the attack is coming from behind. Lu Chen immediately turned around and shouted, Void attack, spear path, Empyrean spear. Why is the Dean attacking from behind? Xiao Zhan's eyes widened. The enemy was clearly in front of him, but he ignored the enemy in front of him? However, before anyone could answer him, There was a sudden loud bang, and the two powerful skills collided instantly. After the violent spiritual energy collision, a violent spiritual energy exploded outward. The ground with Lu Chen as the center instantly cracked, and a fierce wind roared out, and the surrounding people had to raise their spiritual energy shields to block it. What's going on? Xiao Zhan tried hard to watch the battle in the field. At this moment, Lu Chen and one of Jiao Er's clones were both knocked back 100 meters. This also meant that the Dean's judgment was correct. The real attack came from behind. After Lu Chen was knocked back, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The spiritual energy shock just now was too strong. For Lu Chen, who was fighting with his original body, he was just a mere one-star Emperor Xiao. After all, the strength of his physical body was far inferior. On the other side, when Jiao Er's clone was knocked back, 9 black shadows wrapped around her body. Although she was also knocked back, when the black shadows dispersed, she was not injured at all. The two of them used super powerful killing moves for the first time, but Lu Chen was already at a disadvantage. The 9 clones surrounded Lu Chen again. Nameless, you're just SOS. One of the clones laughed contemptuously. Lu Chen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said indifferently, "Dark corrosion clone, it looks like a clone, but it's actually a chaotic space attack method. It's really powerful. You don't need to say that. Your life reversal god is no match for mine." Lu Chen smiled slightly. "Unfortunately, didn't I see through it? If that's all you have, then you can't beat me. Can't win." Jiao's eyes burned with anger. "Fine, I'd like to see how long you can be so stubborn." Chapter 1145. That was just a small demonstration. Now, I'll let you have a taste of the true power of the Dark Erosion Doppelganger. Dark Erosion Doppelganger, 9-headed snakelet chaos. Dark Erosion Apocalypse, sea-splitting sky. Dark Erosion Jiao Air growled, and the 4 doppelgangers attacked at the same time. She had split the attack into 4 parts. The attacks from these 4 directions all caused spatial disorder. Every attack seemed to come from the front, but Lu Chen could clearly feel the spiritual energy fluctuations in other directions. Logically speaking, as long as Lu Chen could determine the direction of the attack, he could block it. However, at this moment, the other 5 doppelgangers also moved. When the 9 doppelgangers attacked at the same time, Lu Chen had already sensed that something was wrong. The attacks of the 9 doppelgangers changed rapidly. He could not even determine which direction the 4 attacks would come from until the last moment. This was equivalent to constantly using the triple door to change the direction of the attack during the attack. Wu Chang narrowed his eyes slightly. That dark erosion has already pushed the spatial attack to the extreme. The attacks are constantly changing, and there's no way to block them. In addition, the 9-headed snakelet doppelganger has restricted nameless movements. This attack will definitely hit. An old man next to him frowned. If it were me, how would I deal with it? Damn it, the attacks are changing too quickly. Even with spiritual energy, I can't completely capture the direction of the attack. I can't even think of a way to deal with it. I didn't expect dark erosion to be so strong. While everyone was still worrying about how to deal with it, Lu Chen had already moved. Just as the other party was about to attack, Lu Chen saw the opportunity and moved forward instead of retreating. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Void Guard. Lu Chen accurately found the other party's 3 attacks and blocked them with Void Guard. Nameless actually went forward? Damn it, how could I forget that this could be done? The old man's eyes widened. Tian Xian, it's not that you forgot, it's that you never thought of it. Wu Chang said, in that situation, Nameless could still accurately capture the other party's attack. This is something even I can't do. Since the opponent's attacks are constantly changing, instead of waiting for her to attack, why don't we meet her head-on? The moment we lock onto the opponent's true attack, we should block it. That's the only solution. However, this requires an extremely strong ability to observe spiritual energy, as well as extraordinary courage. Wu Chang narrowed his eyes slightly. That kid's spiritual energy has already reached the peak of perfection. However, the opponent had 4 attacks. After Lu Chen blocked the 3 attacks, he didn't stop. 9 void steps. Buddha body clone. Attacking the void way of the spear, Empyrean spear. The 3 doppelgangers attacked at the same time, stabbing towards one of the doppelgangers. The doppelganger revealed a look of shock. She didn't expect Lu Chen to find her so accurately. In a hurry, the clone hurriedly made a move, and the 2 powerful moves collided. However, this time, Lu Chen directly used the Buddha body clone, which was equivalent to 3 times the attack. Jiao Er's clone was actually unable to resist this spiritual power collision. The 9 neonates' confusion was immediately crushed. The tip of the silver gallbladder spear emitted a fiery red glow as it pierced straight towards the avatar's heart. At this moment, the black shadow behind Jiao wrapped around the position of her heart in time. The tip of the spear directly pressed against the black shadow as if it was piercing steel. Lu Chen didn't stop his attack and continued to exert force. The tip of the silver gallbladder spear rubbed against the armor formed by the black shadow on Jiao's chest. Break for me. Spearway, shatter stars. Lu Chen directly activated the skill, and a new round of spiritual power surged from the tip of the spear. With 2 cracking sounds, the sturdy black shadow directly split open. The Hellfire's silver gallbladder went straight into the doppelganger's heart. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked to the point of being dumbfounded. This can't be. She was in a desperate situation just a moment ago, and in the blink of an eye, she became the key to turning the situation around? Tian Xian's eyes widened. 3 defenses and 1 attack, all in one go. Wu Chang frowned. This nameless is impeccable whether it's combat experience or mentality. Although many people think that the Dark Corrosion Chaos is on par with the incomplete Divine Demon against the heavens, the Dark Corrosion Chaos will only choose its master. The master chosen by the Divine Demon against the heavens is indeed extraordinary. Qin Li narrowed her eyes slightly. Li Wei, Yao He, are you really familiar with Nameless? Why would a powerhouse of his level be with you? Li Wei and Yao He were a little embarrassed, but it was no wonder. After all, Qin Li no longer treated them as her younger sisters, so she naturally wouldn't care about their feelings. He's not usually like this. Li Wei could only answer like this. How is he usually? A little dull. Yao He answered truthfully. Although Lu Chen had pierced through a doppelganger, no one thought that the battle was over. After all, it was just a doppelganger. At this time, on the battlefield, Dark Corrosion Jiao's doppelganger looked at Lu Chen in shock. You? How dare you block my attack? Lu Chen put away the doppelganger and looked at Dark Corrosion Jiao. Indifferently, you divided the sea-splitting sky into 4, which greatly reduced the attack power of a single attack. On the other hand, my Void Guard specialized in all kinds of fancy tricks, so of course I dared to block it. Although the Dark Corrosion doppelganger is an illusory doppelganger, I noticed that the doppelganger has the characteristics of the original body when it makes a move, so the only way to break your Dark Corrosion doppelganger is to attack when you make a move. I just didn't expect the Dark Corrosion doppelganger's defense to be so high, so I had to add a temporary skill to break through your doppelganger. Dark Corrosion, I've already seen through your doppelganger. If that's all you've got, you can't beat me, Lu Chen said indifferently. Although Dark Corrosion Jiao wanted to kill Lu Chen couldn't hate her at all. There was no killing intent in his eyes, only regret. And the regret in Lu Chen's eyes made Dark Corrosion Jiao even angrier. Nameless only had Jiao in his eyes, not Dark Corrosion. The doppelganger dissipated, and Dark Corrosion Jiao reappeared not far away. The purple mist in her eyes grew thicker. Nameless, I'm going to kill you. Thank you for telling me the secret of the emptiness of God's and demons' arm. In that case, I'll let you taste the true power of Dark Corrosion Chaos. Dark Corrosion Jiao's body exploded with terrifying spiritual energy. Dark clouds covered the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The ground cracked, and the rocks on the ground slowly rose into the air. The entire immortal corpse mound seemed to have turned into hell on earth. Let's see if your Void Guard can block this move of mine. Jiao Er's voice became shrill and crazy. In the distance, Purple Knight Son of Heaven saw this scene, and his blood boiled with excitement. It's coming, it's coming! It's that move! Geo, used this move to defeat the strongest illusion in the star-sky illusion realm. Let these mortals tremble, let them see your true strength. Let everyone know the ultimate killing move of the Dark Corrosion Chaos 9-piece set. Quickly kill Nameless. Dark Corrosion Geo, slowly rose into the air, like a demoness descending to the world. Chapter 1146. What a strong spiritual chi. Not good, everyone back off. A sea of clouds shouted. Everyone watching the battle retreated, leaving only a few dozen super cultivators standing in place. Qing Li, Wu Chang, Tian Xian, and the others were all watching Jiu in the air. She's already collected the Dark Corrosion Chaotic set. How many people haven't collected this set? Dark Corrosion's ultimate move. Just the spiritual chi's aftermath is earth-shattering. I'm curious how she managed to collect the Dark Corrosion Chaotic set at the 6th heaven. This isn't the strength of a technique at the 6th heaven. Nameless can't take this move. Speaking of which, Jiu has already broken through the heavenly illusion? This guy's strength is really terrifying. Jiu's eyes were filled with madness. She looked at Lu Chen, and all the anger in her heart exploded at this moment. Jiu of Wood Mansion, I still can't control you completely. I've killed hundreds of Lu Chen's illusions, but you still haven't given up. Are you still having illusions in your heart? Sorry, I'm going to shatter all your illusions now. I'm going to plunge you into endless despair. Immortal Technique, Dark Corrosion Jutian. Everyone was frightened by the name of this technique. Did I hear wrong? Immortal Technique. Ma Bei was petrified. How can a 6th heaven immortal technique come from? How can a mortal use an immortal technique? Has she already become an immortal? Tai Hao frowned. Strictly speaking, Jiu isn't immortal. The Dark Corrosion set shouldn't have been collected at the 6th heaven. So it's possible that she used this move. I'm worried about how Nameless will deal with it. That's an immortal technique. Tian Xen was so nervous that she couldn't breathe. She didn't say a word until now. At this moment, she clasped her hands in front of her chest, tightly holding a jade pendant. Her eyes were red as she muttered, Lu Chen, you must win, you must win. Although she didn't know how Lu Chen was going to win, she didn't want to think too much. She only had one thought, and that was to hope that Lu Chen could survive. In the Demonic Academy, everyone's hearts were hanging by a thread. Immortal Arts. It's actually an immortal technique. Oh my God. This has already exceeded the strength of a 6th heavenly layer. Dean, Dad, what are you waiting for? Let me go. The little beast said anxiously. On the battlefield, Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Immortal techniques? How powerful would the legendary immortal technique be? Would he be able to withstand this attack? Heavenly might of the gods and demons. Lu Chen immediately used the monster army's attributes. Dragon god form. Demonic lotus heart. Inner demon. He was only missing the godly devil astral body. This was already Lu Chen's strongest state. The silver gallbladder in his hand was trembling slightly. As a demigod item, the silver gallbladder was braver than most demigod items. However, in the end, the Dark Erosion World exterminating will suppress the silver gallbladder in terms of level. Furthermore, the opponent was using an immortal technique. The silver gallbladder would inevitably feel immense pressure. Lu Chen looked at the silver gallbladder. He wasn't angry, but smiled gently. Silver gallbladder, are you nervous too? Don't forget that your previous master was also a man who stood at the peak of a 6th heavenly layer. Although the immortal technique is strong, but... Lu Chen's eyes flashed with a rare arrogance. I'm stronger. This was probably the first time Lu Chen said that he was strong. His purpose wasn't to show off, but to restore the silver gallbladder's confidence. The silver gallbladder seemed to have felt Lu Chen's fighting spirit. It instantly stabilized, and its body shone brightly. Lu Chen smiled slightly. All right, silver gallbladder. Even if I'm immortal and you're a demigod item, so what? I'm going to take this so-called immortal technique head-on. A mortal's body, a demigod item, can also break the heavens. What? Nameless, he's going to take this immortal technique head-on. Taihao, a sea of clouds, Tian, Ma Bei, He Xing, and even Qing Li, Wu Chang, and Tian Xian couldn't believe their ears. A mortal's body was going to fight an immortal. Is that guy crazy? A sea of clouds couldn't help but say fiercely. At this moment, Jiao flipped the dark erosion world exterminating wheel in her hands, forming a ring. Then, between heaven and earth, a purple light shot out from Jiao's dark erosion world exterminating wheel like an aurora towards Lu Chen. It's coming! Lu Chen's nostrils flared, and his face was ferocious. Celestial demon astral body. Tiger descends the mountain. Sky-piercing spear. Then, a huge silver spear appeared around Lu Chen. It turned into a white light and shot directly towards the light beam. The two ultimate moves, one in the sky and one on the ground, collided violently. The earth trembled. Everyone felt the ground shake violently when the skills collided. The ground within a kilometer radius around Lu Chen directly shattered. Then, Lu Chen and the silver spear phantom were directly swallowed by the purple light. Not only did the purple light swallow the silver spear, but it also hit the ground, and a deep hole with the same diameter as the light beam instantly appeared on the ground. It was as if it wanted to pierce through Lu Chen along with the earth's core. Jiao didn't retract her strength, and the dark erosion Jiaotian continued to pierce through the ground. Seeing this, Dark Emperor laughed wildly. Ha, Nameless, you really overestimated yourself. You're dead now. No one can stop me from now on. Perhaps because she used too much strength, the jade pendant in Tian Xin's hand shattered. Seeing the jade pendant shatter, Tian Xin felt her heart shatter along with it. The jade pendant couldn't protect Lu Chen. Li Wei's body went limp. Fortunately, Yao He caught her in time, preventing her from falling. Sister, Lu Ji. Li Wei's eyes were filled with tears as she said weakly, "Is he dead?" Yao He's eyes were red, and she didn't know how to answer. At this moment, Principal Bai Ling suddenly said, "Look, what's that?" Yao He and Li Wei hurriedly looked at the purple light beam. "Principal, what did you say? What are you looking at? You two are really too much. Both of you have the Heavenly Fox bloodline, but why can't you see it more clearly than me? Look inside the purple light beam." Bai Ling said anxiously, but her eyes didn't leave the battlefield for a moment. The two hurriedly looked at the battlefield. At this moment, if one looked closely at the purple light beam, they would see that in the center of the purple light beam, there was a silver ray going against the flow. If one looked closely, it wasn't difficult to see that the silver ray was the silver gallbladder phantom. At this moment, the silver ray was inside the dark erosion Jutian, quickly going against the flow like a hot knife through butter. Nameless isn't dead yet? Li Wei and Yao He's eyes widened, and their hearts rekindled with hope. Yi Fan stared at the silver ray. How is that possible? If I'm not wrong, it's the imperceptible spiritual aura. Taihao suddenly said. Imperceptible spiritual aura? Yi Fan frowned. Yes, but it's not the imperceptible spiritual aura that we understand, Taihao said. Nameless spiritual aura is sharper and more substantial. I don't think the silver gallbladder phantom is a simple phantom, but a spiritual energy spear, formed by spiritual aura. Although the dark erosion Jiotian spiritual aura is fierce, it's like a raging sea pouring out. No matter how fierce it is, it can't destroy a rock that leads to the center unless it's hit from the waist. The second level of the imperceptible spiritual aura is to observe the spiritual aura as it is and use the spiritual aura as one wishes. If one can master it, his spiritual aura will be different from that of ordinary people. Naturally, the power of the same move would be completely different. Yi Fan looked at the principal in shock. The principal's imperceptible spiritual aura had reached such an incredible level. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.